Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Alright, everybody. How are we doing? How are we doing? Alright. We doing well? Nah, it'd be early. No, I'm not. It's less than 10 minutes. Less than 10 minutes. Less than 10 minutes. I don't even want to hear 10 minutes. Less than. Am I frozen? Fuck. Did everything stop working? No. Why did everything stop working? God damn it. Do I have to do this shit again? Alright, hold on. I guess it's punishing me for being not on time. That's fair. Okay. Oh shit, it's doing this shit again. No. Why is it square? Why is it square? Okay. I guess it's just gonna have to be square. It's just gonna have to be square. Let me try and line it up again. Okay. Alright, it's functionally the same thing, right? My hand can disappear when it goes over here, but just ignore that happening. Okay. So, we're almost at the end of the break. This was a particularly long break. All breaks are, I mean, yeah, I know it's 3 weeks. 3 weeks is just 3 weeks either way, but I feel like it's different when it comes out of nowhere. Okay, I just missed a super. I'll get to you in 1 second, Akash Panda. I feel like it's different when it comes out of nowhere, and it's in very close proximity to the previous break, because the last 3-ish week break that we had was to kick off the year, right? Then you go a couple months of chapters, and then including Oda's usual breaks that he's taking during that period of time, and then we get hit with another 3-week break. That's a lot. I think this is probably the fewest number of One Piece chapters that we've had in like a 4-month span ever. Probably 4 or 5 month span. Okay, Akash Panda's got a question. So we're getting through it. Hopefully whatever Oda needs to do to write the series at the pace that is good for him. That's ultimately what's best. But at the same time, it's natural to feel like, fuck, kind of sucks. I do wish we had more One Piece chapters. So I understand why. Of course, but at the same time, it's like, fuck. We are missing out on chapters, and it doesn't help that we're at the climax of Egghead Island, so all this crazy shit's going on. Anyway, Akash Panda, thanks for the 5. Order these chronologically. Shanks reunion. Oh, this is fun. Shanks reunion. Shanks versus Blackbeard. Luffy versus Blackbeard. Zoro versus Mihawk. Luffy versus Akainu. Finding One Piece. Dragon versus Emu. Luffy versus Emu. Okay, this is cool. I think your order is actually close to what I would expect. There's just a couple things that are hard to place. So, I think Shanks reunion, I feel like that happens number 1. I think that's closest around the corner. I think Shanks versus Blackbeard is next. I think then is Luffy versus Blackbeard. I think finding the One Piece might be after Luffy defeats Blackbeard. Or it depends how you interpret it. Because I feel like their collision course is set to be, in my mind, possibly at Laugh Tale or something like that. So, it depends what you mean by finding the One Piece. Like, do they both come across the One Piece together and fight over it? Or is Laugh Tale going to have one big poneglyph or something like that for them to read, and they're going to fight on Laugh Tale and then it gets read? But to me, those two things are... They're gonna be very... very intertwined in terms of how you interpret when the moment is that they find One Piece versus defeat. Like, I think one precedes the other, I guess. Depends how you view the order, but I think it's part of the same thing. Then I feel like Dragon versus Emu and then Luffy versus Emu would have to be last. Here's the thing. Zoro versus Mihawk and Luffy versus Akainu, I know I left those two out, but that's because they're fucking hard to place. Luffy versus Akainu, if I have to give a shot at where it would be, Maybe it's after finding One Piece, once they begin their war against the world government. If it's going to happen, I feel like it would happen as the war against the world government begins. If it were to happen, right? I still like to think it will happen. Zoro versus Mihawk. That's the fucking hardest matchup in One Piece to predict timeline-wise when it'll happen. Just because Mihawk's not going to be on the world government side. I think it'll be weird if Zoro defeats Mihawk much earlier, and then after that he has to fight a bunch of weaker opponents. Just like, fighting the Marine, like Luffy's fighting Akainu and then Imu and stuff, and Zoro's, I don't know, like, not every opponent, here's the thing, obviously not every opponent is stronger than your previous opponent. However, for major conflicts, right, like major conflicts, you're going from Baroque Works to CP9, Dressrosa to Wano, the enemies, your opponents are going to get stronger, right? So that's why Zoro versus Mihawk is really hard to place. Luffy versus Akainu, you can kind of place it. That's my thoughts on that. Yeah, I do have one interesting thought on Zoro versus Mihawk that could be a possibility, but I'm going to save that for a little bit. I'm going to save that for a video, because I thought about when it might maybe make sense. Banor, thanks a lot. After 2 years of saying he won't do a video essay on One Piece, Alexander finally made a One Piece analysis on Kaido. Morj versus Alexander, strongest analyzer of today versus strongest analyzer in history. A video on Kaido. Oh, no, I saw that. I think I saw that. Like, I didn't watch the video, but I did see that he made a video on One Piece stuff. So we got another, another One Piece video essays person doing video essays on it. I know that he covers a lot of series, though, so I imagine he won't be One Piece specific. But I do think it's cool to see when somebody, I don't know, starts off not thinking that they're going to like One Piece and then slowly gets it. So I know that he's been liking all of the big three lately. So that's really funny to me, because it's kind of a case of, like, usually people start with that stuff and then go to the other stuff, like a Hunter x Hunter or Berserk, I think. But his route was the other way. So it's cool that he still enjoys them for I guess, coming in at the reverse direction. The video itself, I'm probably not going to watch it just because I don't really take the time to watch other people's video essays and stuff. But, like, I assume it's probably I know he's got very high standard videos for all of the other series that he covers. Rainiac says, please, Morj, cook this time, unlike the epithet tier list. Oh, no, the bingo... okay, so the bingo thing we're doing just right now, because I think this is the last kind of window that we have to do before we just get everything, like, all of the action of the Egghead Island finale kind of coming at us pretty rapid fire. Luffy low-diffing Akainu. I mean, I believe that Akainu would get a power-up. I think ever since we learned about Conqueror's Haki and Advanced Conqueror's Haki, I think that Akainu is a character that makes sense for getting that. I don't think, like, if you're Akainu going, like, if you're the version of Akainu that is essentially equal, like, Marineford Akainu should just die to Luffy. It shouldn't be really close. It shouldn't be too far off from what Luffy can do to Kizaru, right? But if Akainu got a power-up through Conqueror's Haki, I think that's a big change. The Joe says it's too late for the bingo card. This arc is ending. It should have been done at the beginning of the arc. No, but this is for the finale of the arc. Also, let's get the stream likes up to 100 real quick. I do think that we could do one at the start of Elbaf next time around. He can get that. He'll still get destroyed, says Kurokami Najima. I mean... Advanced Conqueror's Haki, we haven't seen Luffy... I mean, we saw Luffy versus Kaido for a bit. But I'm talking, like, real, like... I don't think... Like, Kaido never showed anything crazy with Advanced Conqueror's Haki. Like, I'm curious to see if Luffy fights somebody like... and Kaido himself is hinting towards the end that there's more levels to Advanced Conqueror's Haki. right? So I'm curious to see. I mean, even just when Garp showed up and did like Galaxy Impact or Shanks' Divine Departure and everything like that, we can see that there's higher levels to Advanced Conquerors Haki. So I think it makes a big difference what degree of Advanced Conquerors Haki you kind of might be able to use. Ignorant Weed, thanks for the 10. While Agenda Reverie was very helpful with getting through the Void Month, I have to thank you for all your streams. In my opinion, you gave us some of your best streams ever on this channel. Oh, thank you. That's very kind of you to say. Yeah, Agenda Reverie was a lot of fun for sure. If you still haven't checked that out, I strongly recommend checking that one out. But yeah, I definitely had some fun streams. Oh, also last stream, finally forcing me to try a certain series. That, in case you don't know, last stream Chad voted on what series for me to read or watch, the new one. And Vagabond was the winner. JP, thanks for the 10. To me, Zoro versus Mihawk happening same arc as Luffy versus Shanks just makes the most sense. Shiryu is a wild card to me, but otherwise Zoro has S-Hawk as a matchup that could be between Mihawk and Venus Juro. The thing is, though, that, like, so to me, Zoro versus Mihawk happening at the same time as Luffy versus Shanks makes sense, but there's several factors to that. One, which is that Luffy should be Luffy versus Shanks right now feels like a believable possibility. Like, in terms of just where Luffy is. Like, put it this way, Luffy this arc, we've seen him manhandling Kizaru and Saturn at the same time. We see him like holding back multiple Gorosei and everything like that. Like, if you told me Luffy's fighting Shanks tomorrow, I'd be like, all right, that's a great matchup. I'd be excited to see how that plays out. It's almost like, okay, I'm excited to see how Shanks keeps up with Luffy and everything that Luffy's able to do right now. If you told me that Zoro versus Mihawk is tomorrow, I would look at what happened one chapter ago and be like, the King of Huff Huff against the world's strongest swordsman tomorrow? I don't know. It just feels like, it feels like Zoro should have, it feels harder for me to believe Zoro fighting Mihawk happens around the corner, whereas to me right now, Luffy versus anybody on the planet is a good fight, minus maybe Imu. To me right now, Luffy in Gear 5th versus anyone on the planet, that's going to be an interesting matchup. I'm like, I don't know how that goes. 50-50 odds, whichever way you want to put it. Zoro does not look like he's ready to fight. Like, unless Mihawk is supposed to be way weaker or something like that, and like all of the memes are true or something like that, and the Vista shit, like that's actually legit. Which I don't think is the case, for the record. That's all jokes. To me, just wouldn't, like, I'm like, how would Zoro fight Mihawk tomorrow? But at the same time, Zoro can always show more by the end of Egghead, right? So I think Ashura, to me, is really that seems like, to me, like the big key to what we should expect of where Zoro should be at by the end of this arc, or heading into Elbaf or something like that. If he can pull out Ashura and maintain it, that's a huge, huge, huge game changer. That changes a lot. So, to me, that's point number one. Then at the same time, I'm like, so if we assume that Zoro versus Mihawk is kind of doable if Zoro could fight him in Ashura form or something like that. For the record, like way back when I like predicted in general, like in 2017 or 2018, I did my video of like, okay, how I think the Elbaf arc is going to go. I said that I think by that point in time, Zoro will be able to fight Mihawk, Luffy will be fighting Shanks, stuff like that. It's just that now that it's around the corner, the one thing holding me back from really believing in that is just Zoro versus Mihawk. I'm like, I don't know if he can do it yet. I just don't know if the man can do it just yet, And at the same time, Zoro versus Shiryu, I assume, still needs to happen. And I feel like that would have to happen after Elbaf. So would Zoro be like, Shiryu just seems so weak. I'm like, would Zoro really be fighting Shiryu after Mihawk? I used to believe that could make sense, but now I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, Zoro fighting Mihawk, who we can assume is, Yonko level character, and then moving on to fight Shiryu. Even though Shiryu is like a tricky matchup and everything like that, would it even be that interesting to see him fight someone who's that much weaker? Like, we just saw Garp fight the entire, or like 70% of the Blackbeard parts and Aokiji by himself, and Shiryu was a factor, but it was just kind of like a throwaway factor. Like Shiryu was a nothing to Garp essentially. So I don't know. Behanor, thanks a lot. Do we think all Gorosei have Conqueror's Haki or Garling? So I'm just going to show this real quick, which is if you look at One Piece chapter, if you look at the chapter that Saturn shows up, right? Let me make sure that this is all right. I gotta add this. Hold on, because my screen is frozen again. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Whatever. Okay. Yeah. If you look at like the chapter that Garling is revealed, right? Not Garling. What's his name? Saturn. 1094 maybe? So Saturn comes out. He's summoned. I'm pretty sure this chapter. Yeah, Saturn is summoned. Not here. Yeah, the next chapter, right? Okay, so once Saturn's been summoned, you see lots of lightning coming out from there, like black lightning, and it's from pretty far away. And it's all coming from Saturn, still from him having appeared. To me, I would assume that that's Conqueror's Haki, because it's just, that's not really a thing with just with armament Haki. You know, like, yes, people have sparks with armament Haki, but that's usually when they're throwing attack or charging up an attack. A character just existing, like, there's just Haki coming off of him, and the Haki's big enough that it's Conqueror's Haki being leaked out here. I feel like it's very possible that it's you know, Conqueror's Haki. And if even Saturn can use it, I wouldn't be surprised if they all can. I don't know. Patty G says, let's fucking go. I've been begging for Vagabond for 2 years. Dude, I'll tell you right now. So I actually binged like 100 chapters of Vagabond over this weekend. I could not put it down. And I have to tell you right now, it has been literally the most life-changing experience I've ever had with a manga. Like, this is, it's just, the writing is on, the character writing is on such a different level. It's opened my eyes to what manga could be. And I feel like, I don't know, like, I feel like a different person having read Vagabond at this point. It just makes me look at all other manga and be like, oh my, like, what is the point of even reading this? I'm just kidding. I haven't even read past the first chapter. I only read the first chapter. I'll get around to it at some point. But that's what you Vagabond fans wanted to hear me say, right? I've only read one chapter. I don't know what the fuck happens after that. But I will keep going. I promise. I'll keep going. Just not... you know, that's what was voted on, so I gotta keep going. But let me finish Fire Punch, then I'll get to Vagabond. It's the next series that I have to try, right? So that's been promised. Z-Koi, thanks for being a Yonka tier member for a month. Hey, Morj, hope you're doing well. Just wanted you to know that my kids and I enjoy watching your streams. Oh, shit, wait, your kids? I shouldn't, am I allowed, can I curse? Don't show your kids my stream. I'm happy to hear that you enjoy watching my stream. Don't show your kids my stream. I don't like the thought, if there's kids watching the stream, then I have to, like, probably tailor what I say a little bit, right? I have to tailor. Okay, don't let your kids watch the stream. Okay, but I'm happy to hear if they enjoy the stream. Okay, let them. You're the parent. You decide what they watch. But you know, thank you for watching anyway. Aether, thanks for being a Pirate King tier member for 13 months. With Luffy's new abilities, turning smoke, lightning, and even people to rubber. Did he turn smoke to rubber? I guess I don't remember. Oh, is that what Saturn shot at him? Maybe. Well, I don't know. He can probably even turn water to rubber. Not the first time a fruit has affected the ocean. Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time, because like Aokiji froze the ocean, Oven boiled the ocean. That's always been a little weird to me. I guess because they just put a little bit of their hand into the water to get that effect. But I don't know. Yeah, maybe Luffy could turn the ocean into rubber. That would be kind of cool to see. Ooh, says, what's going on with TCB? Did they get nuked? Is their site down? I think their site's still up. Let me see. Are you saying their Twitter? Their Twitter's down. Their site's still up for me. I still see it. Latest One Piece chapter 24 days ago. Rest in peace. Gosh, Nyogi says I was so close to starting reading it after listening to a troll. I mean, like, who knows? Maybe that actually is my experience reading it. Maybe when I try it, I'll actually feel that way. But for the moment, I haven't tried it yet. I can't think of any series with like a first chapter that I really thought was phenomenal that I've tried. I mean, I think Attack on Titan's first chapter is phenomenal. Beyond that, I think Naruto's actually got a pretty decent first chapter, pretty good first chapter. Like, as far as first chapters goes, I think that's a good one that stands out. Attack on Titan, Naruto. Like, when I say good first chapter, I'm saying I read it and right away I'm like, okay, I'm kind of hooked on this story. I think that's genuinely pretty damn rare for me. TCB are on a backup right now? What do you mean? I'm on their site. TCB backup. Oh shit, I didn't read that part. TCB backup.b. Wait, what the hell is this? What is this? This isn't TCB. This is some scam site. Oh my god, look at this. Look at what they did to them. TCB backup Bihar Merchi.com. What the fuck does that mean? Is this not the real TCB? The chapters look the same. It looks the same. It reads the same. But something's different. Alright, I don't know what happened to them. We don't know what happened to them. Let's hope they're still around, not in Japanese jail. Read Berserk? I've read Berserk. Not the new Berserk. Berserk ended a long time ago. But when it's, when the writer dies, the story dies. That's just the way storytelling works. But I guess you can't say that around the fake Berserk fans who still suck the series off. Morj falling for scams. Is it a scam? Where's the real TCB? What happened to them? What do we do? I mean, if it's got all the chapters, I don't care if it's a scam. It's run by a mod of OP scans in disguise. That would be hilarious. Oh, is that in Hindi? Is Akash Panda implying it's in Hindi? Bihar. Okay. No, I don't know what Bihar means. Bihar. Mirchi is spice. Bihar Mirchi. Bihar meaning Hindi. What does Bihar mean? I'm going to show you what I just looked up Bihar in Hindi. And the answer they gave me is this shit. What the fuck is this supposed to mean? I can't read Hindi, by the way. I can understand it, but I can't read Hindi. I can't read this. What is it? This didn't help at all. Translate Bihar to English. The answer is Bihar. Fuck Google Translate. All right. Bihar is a state? Okay, there we go. Bihar Mirchi? What does that even mean then? Spicy Bihar state? Okay, I don't know. All right. The Joe says I wasn't their last stream to vote. You should try 86. So, for those of you who missed the last stream, just know that you actually could have changed the outcome. Because not just of the final series, but the entire poll was so tight from start to finish, bracket-wise. There were at least a dozen different situations where we'd be between two different manga or anime to try. Like, let's say, Evangelion versus Haikyuu or something. Random example, I don't know if that actually happened. And it would be straight up 50-50 split. And this happened many times. I think this is by far the closest voting has ever been in any of my streams. So I kept saying that in any of the if a few other people had shown up that day or something like that, then each one of those polls could have gone different. Like, for example, if you're a Haikyuu fan or a Freerin fan or a fucking whatever, it doesn't matter, 86 fan, right, or Cyberpunk Edgerunners fan or Arcane fan or whatever, and you weren't on Friday's stream, if you had shown up on Friday's stream, you would have changed the vote for a lot of these things. Vagabond won, but it won on the back, like the entire poll was 50-50s for like many different series across the way. So, like literally if 5 people from this stream showed up to that stream, we could have something totally different. Something that lost in like round 2 could have taken it all the way or something. Malik says some of us have to work, Morj. That's fair. That's fair. But all I'm saying is, if you can watch streams on your boss's dime, I think... I don't know. I think that's an opportunity right there. All right. Wade Turner says it was rigged. I did not rig it. If somebody rigged it, it was not me, because I came in not wanting. I didn't even want to put Vagabond into the bracket, because my whole thing is I don't want to read Vagabond because it doesn't have an ending and it will never get an ending. So I wasn't really I always felt though that I would watch Vagabond at some point or read Vagabond at some point, so I was fine putting it there in the end. But in general, I was not looking to read Vagabond, so I mean, I didn't fight it like it won. It's cool. I'm going to get into it. But I promise you, if anyone was rigging it, it was certainly not me. I was hoping that something else would win. Chopperman, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 6 months. Senor Morj, as a former ranked amateur boxer, don't skip leg day. All power comes from the hips/lower body. Good luck jumping rope. I will be jumping rope. This week I'll get back into jumping rope and everything more consistently. Doing everything more consistently. I do know that all power from boxing comes in the legs. I think like in pretty much every single, the majority of sports, right? Mostly power is always generated from the legs, right? Your upper body's got to be loose. Your legs generate most of the power. It is counterintuitive for sure, but yeah, just any sport that you learn, any athletic endeavor you learn, you just have to learn that form is going to be mostly about keeping your upper body loose and allowing your lower body in rotation to do most of the work. Not always rotation, but you know what I mean. Like anything from like shooting a basketball, swinging a tennis racket, throwing a punch, all of that. It is interesting because it's just like intuitively, I think most humans think, like intuitively you just watch stuff and think like arm muscles are the most important for power. And they do matter, but much less. Aditio, thanks for the 5. Thoughts on Bonnie joining now? I was a big believer/hoper, but I think the Straw Hats have control of the Pacifista, maybe too much at this point. No, I think Bonnie joining is very, very likely because, I mean, even Vegapunk's last words were basically like, yeah, Bonnie, she needs somewhere to go. Take her on the crew. And I do think that the Straw Hats having control of the Pacifista, that's not going to play into things until it's time for them to fight the world government. And so I think that that's a setup for a dramatic moment, right? Like it's almost identical to the Tama situation in the Wano War, right? The difference would be the Straw Hats would be showing up with Tama, Bonnie on board this time, right? So war is going on, Straw Hats show up, right away they're able to help turn the tide somewhat by switching the Pacifistas over. It's a very similar scenario. Eva had to run the gauntlets as Wade Turner. Yeah, some shows in anime just had a harder bracket to get through. Eva got far, if I recall. I might be wrong. Beheno, thanks a lot. I expect I'm gonna watch a lot of them. I'm gonna watch at some point. It was just what am I gonna do next? And so after Fire Punch, I'm on Vagabond. Beheno, thanks a lot. I expect a long in-between arc section once we leave Egghead, comparable to 1079 to 1088, maybe even crazier, hoping for emu design and more god sights. 1079 to 1088, it's actually crazy to think about. That was the longest away from Straw Hat section we've probably ever had in the story, and I didn't even think about it because it's in the middle of an arc, and we're so used to it, that sort of thing happening during the arc, after the arc itself. I do think that you would be very, very likely to be right on that. So obviously Egghead conclusion, we're set for some crazy shit, and then I imagine by the end of the year we'll be getting to, I wouldn't be surprised if the way this year plays out is we get through the finale of Egghead, then we get a run of crazy shit happening in the outside world, and then maybe we wrap the year arriving at Elbaf, something along those lines. Also, let's get the stream likes to 100 really quick. I think you might be right on that, Behanor. Aether, thanks for the 5. You hurt my spirit saying you'll never watch Mob Psycho. It's relatable, funny, touching, with an engaging action. You're too focused on not liking psychics. Okay, so, I mean, I believe that Mob Psycho is good. Like, wouldn't you rather me have a good reason for not liking it than, like, a lot of people didn't like my reasoning for not wanting to watch the X-Men last week. And here's the thing. That whole spiel about not wanting to watch or like the X-Men came from a place of ignorance. That's pure ignorance. And it was generally bad reasons, right? This I'm being open with me saying I don't have good reasons to not watch Mob Psycho. It's just purely a personal reference thing. I just don't feel like, how do I say this? There's so many, like you saw the bracket, right? There's so many different series. If we take a look at the bracket again from last time, it had like so many great series out there. Vagabond, Evangelion, like Arcane, Frieren. Like, there's so many other things that people have been praising for so long that ultimately, even if Mob Psycho's good, at a certain point, you can't get to everything, right? Like, I can't read Kingdom and then Vagabond and then this. Like, I can, but there's an, it's difficult to get through everything. So at a certain point, I'm looking at it and I'm just like, well, I'm going to use small reasons or small personal preferences to cross certain things off and value other things over it, So for me, it's just, I don't even dislike sidekicks. I just don't feel like that's a fun ability to watch as the main character's ability for me. If it is for you, then that is for you, Malik says the best character in Mob isn't a psychic. Is Mob Psycho? Is the main character's name Mob? What's his name? Is he a psychic? I don't know. Mob Psycho is 24 episodes? Is that the full series? Do I have to watch another season? Eva is 26 episodes. Mob is like 37. I'm more likely to watch Eva sometime soon than Mob Psycho. All right. Let's get into this. I don't know how to create a bingo sheet, though. Create a bingo sheet. We're going to create this, and then let's see what happens at the end of it. Wait, when I create bingo cards, am I not allowed to personalize it? Like, okay, now I can do that. Okay. What the fuck? I don't want to... Man. Okay, I got it. I found something. Here we go. Alright. Richly says, what do you think a psychic does? They just do shit with their brain, like telekinesis, right? That's not... I mean, I've seen... It's just whatever Tatsumaki or Fubuki do, basically, right? That's not fun for me to watch too much. I mean, it's fun for me to watch side characters like Tatsumaki and Fubuki do it. But if it's every fight, then I wouldn't have fun with it. Great teacher Onizuka? No, I've heard good things about that, though. It wasn't brought up during the time that we were taking submissions for next series to read. Okay. Oh, one second. Okay. All right, we got this. Oh, wait, hold on. One more time. All right. When will Doflamingo make a return? I don't know, dude. I mean, I'm stuck between, is Oda bringing back, because like Crocodile, Lucci, he's bringing back a lot of characters. Doflamingo's in this weird space, though, where it's like, he was just defeated, right? It's like, are Kaido and Big Mom going to make a return? I don't know. Maybe New World villains are just meant to remain defeated. I mean, even Caesar, though, he's back in action. I just wonder if Doflamingo's one of maybe the first villains to be down for good, just because they're defeated so late in the story, Change chat color? Good idea. Just highlight. Nah, it's this thing, right? For the record, am I not pretty good at changing chat's color nowadays? I used to be really bad at it. Used to have no idea where to find it. And used to kind of just let it be. But now, I'm pretty quick with it, right? All right. Do I get a free space? I feel like free spaces are cheating. No, I'll give myself a free space. Doflamingo is different from Kaido and Big Mom. Not as big of an issue strength-wise. He could come back for Shiggles. Yeah, but it's like, to what end? To what purpose? I mean, I get, like, Lucci came back to be used as a punching bag. Crocodile came back, but stronger, we can assume. And we can assume stronger, I think. And to drive a certain plot, which was the Cross-Guild plot. It exists because of Crocodile, right? So along those lines, I'm thinking, like, with Doflamingo, he's not strong enough to make a huge deal. I guess there could be some huge plot element to what he brings to the table. I also, like, they could set off some plot line or something like that. I also personally view Doflamingo, I mean, it depends on how Oda wants to write it, but I personally view Doflamingo as too evil of a character to really bring back in sort of a fun way. I mean, you can bring him back in a fun way, but I guess I personally view him as just genuinely such an evil character that if you incorporated him into Cross Guild, I think it would change the vibe. Crocodile is also a really evil character, of course, but with Crocodile, maybe just because it's so far removed and we've gotten to walk through we've gotten to see more of his character since then and kind of gained a bit more perspective, and he's still evil, obviously. Crocodile is evil. I mean, Crocodile's even Buggy's evil. Like, Cross Guild is shitty. Doflamingo could fit into Cross Guild. I just think that Doflamingo is just another level of evil that it makes it just feel different. So let's set aside Cross Guild. What's somewhere else that he could fall into, right? I don't know. Whatever. To me, it's just like whatever plotline he comes up with. It could help in taking down the Celestial Dragons, or maybe some key to finding out about the Celestial Dragons. That could be... He could be a source of information for that. That could be interesting. All right. Emu face reveal. I think that's a great little possibility. We're going to throw that in. I don't know any strategy regarding Bingo, so I'm just going to throw in wherever. Emu face reveal. Let's throw that in right off the bat. Big Mom story's not finished. I don't know how much Oda cares about Big Mom story. Free space, Vegapunk's ghost joins the Foxy Pirates. I'm going to say Zoro versus Venus Juro somewhere in there. Okay, I should be strategic with this, right? No, no, we'll just... No strategy. We get what we get. I'll put Zoro versus Venus Juro. I guess on the diagonals is where it's more likely to help places, right? If you put it in a diagonal, because then you can... Is that right? I don't know if that's even right. I'd have to think about it. JP, thanks for the 20. People compared the Gorosei to the satellites, but they remind me of the Seraphim, but with even better invincibility. They seem like the true ultimate creations by Imu. Now it makes sense how Lunarians could have been wiped out. So either way, I do think that they would have been created by Imu, but I get what you're saying in terms of, like, parallel-wise. Like, Vegapunk created the satellites, but he also created the Seraphim. Satellites are a part of his consciousness, but Seraphim are separate entities that he created, so the Gorosei working like that, I do see a parallel there. That could be interesting. And yeah, just the regeneration factor and how difficult it is to kill them, similar to how difficult it is to kill the Seraphim due to durability. It still doesn't seem clear to me how the Lunarians were defeated, or how the Lunarians were wiped out, because it doesn't change the fact that Lunarians are crazy, crazy strong, right? They're the most powerful race as far as we can tell. Kind of makes sense because they were considered gods at one point. I just wonder, did Emu wipe them out? Who wiped them out? It's hard to say. Name of the Ancient Kingdom? I don't think we find that out. Bonnie joins the crew is too easy, but we'll throw it in. B for Bonnie. Bonnie joins the crew. Kid comes back and kills Shanks. Kid kills Shanks. So some guy with naturally wavy hair. No, we're not going to do that. Ignorant Weed says Vivi joins the crew. Like, physically joins. I'm not going to... Sorry, I saw something on the balcony or whatever. I'm not going to put that. I'll put that as a maybe, and then maybe as we start tightening things up, we can work that out. I'll put that. Vivi physically joins the crew. Brook versus Venus Drew? I don't know about that. I'm going to go ahead and put Sanji versus Mars. I think that's possible as well. Sanji versus Mars. Dragon actually does something? Yeah, I don't know about that. I'm going to put Kizaru Awakening. Kizaru Awakening. And I'm going to go ahead and put Kizaru Sacrifice. Kizaru... I'm not going to say Sacrifice. Kizaru Character Shift. Kizaru notable character shift. So it can't just be like, man, I'm sad I killed Vegapunk. Something against the world government or something like that. At least some minor act of rebellion. Aether, thanks a lot. What were Lunarians doing with the Eve tree before Emu? You phrased it in a weird way, which maybe my mind's dirty. My mind must be really dirty. Because I read that, I don't know, just the way you phrased it sounded like... What were the Lunarians doing with the Eve tree before Emu? I just ignore me. I just got an image of like before Ewu showed up, the Lunarians are just up there, just like never mind. You don't need to know what I thought of. Ewu shows up. He's like, "What are these weirdos doing with the Eve tree? I gotta wipe them out." These weird ass perverts at the top of the Grand Line. Spade says Morj releases Wano analysis is a good one. Oh shit, yeah, I can put that down. We can put that down as free space. If we put that down as free space, that means I'm committing to not getting any bingo credit unless I put out the Wano analysis video. I think that's fair. Morj puts out Wano analysis video. Right? It locks me in pretty hard because I can't win this way, or this way. I lock myself out of a lot of victory options. Alright. Katakuri attacks the Blackbeard pirates? I'm not putting that. Emu did nothing. JP says Emu did nothing wrong all along. Is it possible? Okay, let's just sit back here and think a second. Is it possible that Emu did nothing wrong? How much do we know that he even did? Okay. So, he killed every single person in the Lucia Kingdom, right? Not true, a lot of them got to escape. He killed a lot of people in the Lucia Kingdom. Essentially genocide. I guess we answered that question pretty quick. Alright, we know that Emu did at least one thing really, really bad. But, did they deserve it though? I don't think so. I'll say no, they did not deserve it. They didn't quit to go join Sabo and the Revolutionaries, but you know what? I wouldn't have quit either. You know, if somebody just showed up to my city and was like, "Hey, we're rebelling against the U.S. government," I probably wouldn't go with them. You know, not that I love the U.S. government or anything like that, but it just seems like a lot to join in on the rebellion at this point in time. I've just got other things going on at the moment. You know, 00 Fleven says Adam Wood stripper poles. Okay, I don't. I also didn't answer the original question, which was Aether asking what were the Lunarians doing with the Eve tree before Emu. I didn't answer that initial question. So I do think that the god and god symbology and everything like that and imagery being so prominent in One Piece, I do think it has some degree of meaning. I mean, Kuma even literally fucking walks around with the Bible. The Lunarians being referred to as gods, the Eve tree. I wonder how important the Eve tree is going to be at the end of all this. I don't have a good guess for what the Lunarians are doing with the Eve tree. If it was significant to them, if it was important to them in some... I have no idea. I genuinely don't know. I don't have a good guess for that. JWP, thank you for being a Pirate King tier member for 16 months. Vagabond has top 5 art BTW. I mean, I thought the art was phenomenal right off the bat, but I also think that in almost every series I've ever... Let me finish your comment. Also, Mob is known for great character writing and comedy. That's the reason why everyone who has seen it sings its praises. Has one of my top 10 characters of all time, non-psychic law. Maybe I'll try it. Was it in the poll yesterday? I don't remember. I think it was in the bracket yesterday, or did I not put it in the bracket? Was it in the bracket and it lost, or did I just not put it in the bracket? I feel like I might have not put it in the bracket. That seems very possible. Also, let's get the streamlights up to 200 real quick. Nervian V-Maker, thanks for the 5. Thoughts on a de-aged Garland as Zoro's final opponent? I don't think that would be Zoro's final opponent. I just don't. It would essentially be like Shanks being Zoro's final opponent, and there's just never been any sort of... I'm not saying Garland is equal to Shanks. We can't possibly know how that stacks up. We do know that Garling... Well, we've gotten strong suggestions that Garling is one of the characters that permanently scarred Whitebeard, which says a lot. But I just don't think Garling versus Zoro... I don't know if Garling's meant to be a Zoro opponent or a Shanks opponent or something like that. Or something. It just feels kind of... I mean, obviously a swordsman, we can assume in his prime, an extremely powerful swordsman. But... I don't know. There's just so many other options for Zoro in terms of world government side, like Venus Juro. I imagine Venus Juro is more significant than Garling, right? Because Venus Juro's Gorosei. I mean, Prime Garling might be pretty crazy. We just have no way of knowing. I could see it, but it would just... That if it's Garling as Zoro's final opponent, then it kind of suggests that, like, well, shouldn't Zoro have just been shooting for Shanks the entire time? You know? I don't know. Behano, thanks a lot. Emu did nothing wrong, but only if she's a hot lady and a girl boss. I'm on board. JWP, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. I appreciate that. As do the good people in the stream. Thanks a lot. Man, I appreciate it. 003, 9916, Tiger King, Balsam Fur, Turtle Guy. Everyone say thanks to JWP for gifting some memberships to y'all. Yeah, thanks a lot, man. Yeah, but Vagabond art gets a lot better, lol, slow burn. Okay, yeah, that was actually... I was going to follow up on the same comment. Let me follow up on that same comment that JWP had, which is... Yeah, Vagabond art... in general, most series... Like, most any series that I've read, the art always gets better. Significantly better as the story goes. So I wasn't reading chapter 1 of Vagabond being like, okay, this is what people talk about when they talk about Vagabond art. I thought it was really good, but I understand fully that obviously it's just going to keep getting better and better from there. You know, like, I didn't even vibe with Berserk's art style for a good bit, honestly. Not vibe with, but I liked it, but it just wasn't... It wasn't, like, to me, it wasn't as nearly as beautiful as what it slowly became. I'd say about mild Berserk spoilers. I'd say by the time Zod showed up for the first time in Golden Age was when I started to really feel like, yeah, Berserk the art is just tapestry worthy, you know? Uwu, thanks a lot. Watch FLCL, man. It's 6 FLCL, man, it's 6 episodes long and definitive classic. Okay, people were talking about FLCL, but I don't know what that means. FLCL... Oh, it's just... I thought it was an abbreviation for something. FLCL anime? Oh, it's literally just called FLCL. Okay. I don't know. I thought that people were abbreviating something or something like that every time they said it. So I didn't know what people were referring to. But, alright, that's a good... I'll keep that in mind. Conviction arc is when Berserk art really picks up. I don't know. I mean, I thought that by the end of Golden Age, art and imagery are two different things. I mean, it's tied together. Imagery is a aspect of art, but I already thought that Berserk had some brilliant imagery over the course of Golden Age. Conviction, it did really get to... Yeah, I mean, I think most people can agree that the conclusion to Falcon of the Millennium Empire is the best stretch of art Berserk has ever had. But I do think that the art has been phenomenal. Like, it has been phenomenal for a long time. Wait, that's what Fooly Cooly is? Okay, is that what Fooly... That's what that is? I've heard of Fooly Cooly. Okay, so I'm gonna be honest. I'm never gonna watch that. I don't know what it's about, but I heard the name Fooly Cooly at one point, and I think I heard it a few times, and I think I swore to myself. This was like years ago. I think I swore to myself I would never watch that sort of anime. just because the name Fooly Cooly, it just sounds like the type of anime that, like, it just sounds like the type of anime that is too anime for me to be watching, I think I decided. I don't know. At some point. I heard the name before. I'm not watching it. Alright. I'm going to actually delete that tab that I opened up, because I like to leave the tabs open of things I want to check out later and try. But yeah, I'm sorry, I just can't be watching something called Fooly Cooly. I just can't do it. Okay. What else we got here? Vivi physically joins the crew. I'm not sure about this one. I'm gonna put stars around this one. Okay, so rule is no simple stuff. We can't just put down like the truth gets out, like Vegapunk's message gets out to the world. It's supposed to get out to the world. We don't count that. Okay. Perona and Moria join Cross Guild. I don't know about that. No, that's too... We're trying to win at bingo. We're trying to win at bingo, but we're trying not to make it too easy, you know? Like, making it too easy is stuff like this. No Straw Hats die and they make it to Elbaf. That's too easy. We can't do that, alright? But at the same time, we're not going to get super difficult like Perona joins Cross Guild. I don't know about that. Kuma Death. There we go. I'm gonna throw in Kuma Death. This is important to me, so I'm gonna be very upset if this shit doesn't happen. Kuma Death. Saturn is defeated. I'm gonna say that. Saturn permanently defeated. I'm not gonna say dies because his version of being defeated might be getting sent to the bottom of the ocean or something like that. Saturn is permanently defeated. We find out what happened to Garp? Okay, if we're doing that, then the rule is that post-Egghead Island also counts. Because I don't know if we'll find out what happens to Garp during the course of this climax or anything like that, but this counts post-Egghead Island, alright? That's the rule. This counts post-Egghead. No, counting post-Egghead Island makes it almost too easy. Not too easy, but it makes it easier, right? Like, it's just like... Because then you can just do, like, find out what happened to Law, find out what happened to Kid, right? Like, we'll find those things out. Maybe not Kid, but find out what happened to Law, find out what happened, like, get a cutscene of Saba or something like that. I don't know. Let's say it has to happen... Although Emu's face reveal, I feel like we'll get post-Egghead Island. No, fuck it, we'll just bank on it. No, I think we'll get it post-Egghead Island. Okay. Post-Egghead Island counts. Fuck it, post-Egghead Island counts. Alright, but find out what happened to Garp is too easy, right? Like, we're supposed to find out what happened to Garp, you know? The Iron Giant. Okay, Iron Giant doing something. That's like an example. Iron Giant gets destroyed? Sure, let's throw that in there. Iron Giant gets destroyed. What were you talking about a second ago? There was something I was about to add. Smoker appearance? I'm down to put in Smoker appearance, that's for sure. Let's throw in Smoker appearance. Dragon does something. I'm just gonna... Dragon makes a move. So cutting away to Dragon, like sitting there, doesn't count. Cutting away to Dragon having a conversation doesn't count. Dragon makes a move. Ignorant Weed, thanks a lot. What I meant to say is Vivi meets the Straw Hats again and possibly travels to Elbaf with them. As far as we know, they're already close to Egghead. Yeah, I'm on board with that. Like, okay. Like, I get what you're saying when Vivi joins the crew, as in, that's what I meant when I'm writing Vivi physically joins the crew, right? Because people consider to be a member of the crew. Getting on board the ship is what people discuss, right? So let's rephrase this to Vivi gets on board the ship. I still want to put asterisks around that because I'm just not sure if that's going to happen, but it's whatever. Malik says Luffy learns he has the Nika fruit. That's an interesting choice because that's actually something that I never thought... Like, I haven't put any thought into whether that's something that needs to happen into the story, period, ever. You know? Aether, thanks a lot. Put Kaku fights a Gorosei on the board. Trust me, Kaku fights a... I'm not putting Kaku fights a Gorosei. Oh, we could put something fun for Lucci. Lucci does something. Like, rebellion-wise. Maybe not hardcore rebellion, but, like, what if Lucci does something? I think that's a fun little off pick. Lucci helps Kaku? No, I don't think we're at a point where I'm going to guess that Lucci's going to try and help. I don't think Lucci... Because Kizaru, we've been working on him potentially getting a character shift. Lucci, it would be a little bit... I think it would still be good, but I don't think we've gotten a foundation there for me to be like, okay, let me bank on this, you know? The Giants will tell Luffy that he has that fruit. Yeah, that's actually true. It's very likely Luffy will find out. All right, Luffy finds out he has the Nika fruit. To me, it's one of those things that Luffy is the type of character where it wouldn't matter at all to him, I don't think. Or, like, if it matters, it won't be in any sort of... It's not going to be in any sort of significant way where he really thinks about it. He might be surprised and be like, what? I thought I had the Gomu Gomu no Mi or something. And there might be something funny or a little scene for it. But I don't think in any sort of significant... There's not going to be any sort of reflection, I don't think. It's not going to change him too much. Lilith leaves with the Strats. That's actually an interesting pick because that's been a theory for a bit. I'll throw that in. Lilith gets on board the ship. Just on board the ship is fine. Didn't people already tell him that? I don't know. I don't think so. I feel like I don't remember him finding that out specifically. Angel Rees, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 5 months. I think Emu will make his presence known to Luffy by the end of Egghead. Alright, so that's like a big guess, which is like Emu actually coming down to Earth or something like that. That'd be kind of insane. Do we want to throw that onto the bingo board? Because that's really... I think that's too risky to put down on the bingo board. That's too much. Leo Recto, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 12 months. Hello, Mr. Morj. Happy anniversary. Would you prefer... I didn't know I got married. Would you prefer Emu lose by getting sent to the ocean, devil metaphor, or being sent to space/moon, ironically God? I think being sent to the ocean... I think in general we get to see lots of times this imagery of God fall. I think Doflamingo is an excellent parallel, right? Being sent from heaven to earth. The chapter is literally called, if you go to One Piece chapter 789? 790. Yeah, Heaven and Earth, the chapter that Doflamingo is sent down. Defeated, sent down to the depths. I think that's very fitting. So I would like to see that happen with Emu as well. I think Oda does like a lot of backwards thinking, like backwards. I don't even know what the word is. I think he pulls a lot from what he's got planned later and incorporates versions of that into what he's writing arc to arc. Behenor, thanks a lot. My propositions. More Vegapunks die. What are we even at? I don't even know which Vegapunks are dead. They're just so disposable. I do think that Lilith might be the only one that survives. More God's Knights are revealed that aren't Garling. Updates on Crossguild and Shanks. Giants stay behind to stall Gorosei. Something big happens in the Wano cover story. We can't just write something big happens. That's too broad. I think... I'm not going to say Giants staying behind to stall. I don't think the Giants can... I think that at best, 2 Giants can stall like 1 Gorosei. Updates on Crossguild and Shank. We need more specific things. I think we need more specific things. More God's Knights are revealed. I could see that. More God's Knights are revealed, but I would see that happening in post-Egghead Island. So I'm going to put that down. Okay, how about this? We're allowed to do post-Egghead... We're allowed to get credit for post-Egghead Island if we put the phrase post-Egghead Island. So I'll say Emu face reveal post-Egghead Island. So if it happens in the arc itself, it's no good. No, this makes it too difficult. Makes it too difficult. Then it gets too tricky across the board. Because, like, what if it's one chapter after they leave Egghead Island and then they run into Vivi? To me, I still feel like it should count. Okay, let's put God's Knights. More God's Knights revealed. Is Zoro revived in cover story? Do Dory and Brogy die? I don't think Dory and Brogy are dying. Spade says Punk Records destroyed. Yeah, I'm on board with that. Punk Records destroyed. Aliato5, thanks for the 5. Last night... Okay, here we go. Last night I heard a noise in my kitchen, so I went to investigate with my trusty Zoob tube for defense. I found Morj naked, covered in peanut butter. I don't like being exposed like this by Aliato5, but it's just the way the world works. It has to happen. JP, thank you for the 5. Imagine if Imu and the Gorosei had a stare down with Luffy as he leaves like Jon Snow had with the Night King and the dead at Hardhome. Would be so raw. Dude, that scene was so good. That scene was so good. That scene was so fucking good. If people know, it's from Game of Thrones season... I want to say season 6. One of the last episodes. That was such a sick episode. Amazing way to end the... end the main, action of the season. But it just led to nothing. I don't mind even spoiling Game of Thrones. I would rather spoil it and ruin it for people so that they don't have to go through watching it. But the fact that didn't go anywhere and they thought that was a good idea, like, twists for the sake of twists is just stupid. Aliato5, continuing on, he didn't notice me at first, but once he did, he let out a screech and went for the window. It took him a few times, but he managed it eventually. Why did it take me a few tries? In your story, I can't even get out the window properly. How did I get in? Wouldn't I have gotten in through the window? But I forgot how to get out, how to open it again. Matt, thanks for being a Pirate King tier member for 1 month. Buggy somehow recruits a new powerful character to the Cross Guild. I like that. Cross Guild gets a new member. Yeah, specific stuff is always good. Those are good things to bet on. Let's use that to complete this. Cross Guild gets a new member. I'll specify this before Elbaf. Weevil would be great. Weevil would be cool. It took a few tries because I haven't been jumping rope. That's fair. JWP, thanks for the 5. If you count post Egghead, Akainu making a drastic move after Vegapunk message would be cool. Yeah, no, I'm on board with that. Major. Okay, yeah. Akainu making some drastic. Hold on. It needs to be more specific. I'll just write major. I'm not even going to say Akainu. Major falling out amongst Marines, and we're going to assume that this is after the message stuff is revealed. Also, let's get the stream likes to 200 real quick. Ancient weapon reveal? Yeah. Name of ancient weapon revealed. I like that. I'll say name of Emu's weapon revealed. What do we think about York? Do we think anything happens with York? Do the Blackbeard pirates maybe get York? I don't know if the Blackbeard pirates will get. If they got York, they would have already gotten York, right? Mihawk shows his true strengths as Raffi D. Goat. I could see Mihawk fighting somebody post Egghead. Let's say Mihawk fights someone. Mihawk fights someone post Egghead. Let's throw that in. Let's hope that happens. Ancient Kingdom name? No, I don't think that happens. Beat Gamer says Iron Giant reveals the full Void Sentry and the series ends. York joins Mads? No, because York's a Vegapunk. She's too smart for Mads, I assume. It's never clarified how much an individual Vegapunk represents the total intellect of Vegapunk. Like, if they're all roughly similarly intelligent, but just have their intelligence specialized for one particular thing. I don't know, because York can make mother flames. Mihawk training with Vista. People are saying, Mr. NK is saying Garp's fate revealed. I'm seeing other people say Garp's fate revealed. I just feel that I do think that Garp's fate is going to be revealed. I just think that that's maybe not a bold enough thing to put into bingo, you know? We want to throw in new bounties? I guess maybe new bounties aren't bold enough. But it's possible they don't get new bounties. No, they probably get new bounties. Let's throw in new bounties. Like, to me, it's like Garp getting revealed. It's kind of the same as saying, like, we get to check in with what's going on with the revolutionaries. Or, like, we get a cutscene that shows Law's fate or something like that. I don't know. Grand Fleet does something. I don't know if the Grand Fleet will do anything. The Gorosei win. Okay, so JWP says he doesn't think they get new bounties. So in that case, I think this is a bold guess. Too soon for new bounties, right? Says Munoz 1994. It arguably is. At the same time, they got new bounties back-to-back between Dressrosa and Egghead. I guess that was 100 chapters apart. This would be... I mean, shit is taking a while, right? Like, they got their first batch of bounties around 1060... No, 1050 something. Their new bounties. I feel like 1053, 52? 52, 53? Maybe 53. They got their new bounties 53, 54, something like that. Or maybe it was right after they left. I forget. They got new bounties, right? They got new bounties in the 50s, 1050s. So, Egghead, we can imagine... Let me do a quick poll. How long do you guys think Egghead still has to go? We've all been consistently wrong, like consistently underballed this for some time. I think like last time we did, maybe not last time, but a lot of people thought it would end by 1100. Then 1100, you know, we're in Kuma's backstory. It's like not ending at 1100. So I remember during Kuma's backstory, a lot of people were like, yeah, once this backstory ends, we probably got maybe 10, 15 chapters. Now we're like chapter 1112, and we're not finishing this shit in the next few chapters, right? So not post Egghead Island, but Egghead Island itself. When will Egghead Island itself... When will Egghead Island end? So not post Egghead Island, but Egghead Island itself, right? Just round for this, chapter 1120. Yeah, I'll say 1120 to 1125 range, and then 26 to 30 range. Okay, I threw out some options. I gave you guys some ranges. Atlas saves. Kenny said Atlas saves Sanji. Ass. ASS. Okay, so 1120 to 1125. I could see that. That's, you know, between, yeah, like the 9 to like 15 chapter sort of range. I could see that. it's just sometimes things move so slow, you know? Like, Zoro started fighting Lucci, and then that went on for like 6 months. You know, sometimes it just takes so long for certain things to happen. I think even Kuma's flashback, when it started, I don't think people were thinking that it would go as long as it did. At least when it started. Anas Mehmet says, this is the first time I voted since like 2 years ago. Why? Voting's so simple. You just click one. Why was this the thing that motivated you to vote? Because, like, a lot of times when people vote for things, it's, you know, something that you feel somewhat passionate about. Why do you feel so passionate about Egghead ending in 10 chapters versus, like, 15 chapters? You know? Like, we put out some controversial polls and everything like that in the past. This was the thing that made you vote? This was the thing that you felt so strongly about? You're like, okay, it's been 2 years, but I need to let the people know that Egghead is not ending before 1120. Voting's so simple in YouTube polls. I don't know why people don't do it. Because you just click. You don't have to do anything. All right, let's get the stream likes to 200 real quick. Yeah, 6 minutes till the message. Here's the thing: the time limit is flying by a little quick. Because I swear a chapter ago we were at 10 minutes, and then all of a sudden nothing really happens, and we're at 6 minutes. So I think Oda's going to be kind of... I think with that sort of thing, Oda's got to be a little bit hazy with how he makes things work. Because, you know, like in Dressrosa, Luffy fought Doflamingo for 20 minutes, and that was the span of like half a chapter. And we were just told, we cut back and we're like, yeah, Luffy's been fighting him for 20 minutes. And then after that, it was like, okay, now Luffy needs to be protected for 10 minutes. And that took like 3-4 chapters or something. I'm not saying chapter count should correlate or whatever, but sometimes Oda's just like, okay, nothing really happens, but we'll just say 20 minutes took place or 10 minutes took place, you know? The raid will fail. The Gorosei's raid will fail, but I don't think that that's that bold to say. Zoro killing Kaido and Egghead. Lafitte makes a move, says okay. That's an interesting point, because Lafitte, we still don't know. And maybe Lafitte snags York or something like that. That would be cool. By 1120, we should be leaving Egghead, says BeatGamer99. That feels bold to me. Maybe it's possible, but that feels a little bold to me. Oh, the hidden says message gets interrupted right before something interesting is revealed. I think that that's possible. Message is not allowed to completely finish. I think that would be cool and maybe leave something interesting for us to wait on. But in that case, does that mean that every Vegapunk has to die so that we, the reader, are not able to find out what the message is? And maybe that, you know, preserves some mystery heading towards the end of the story? I'm not going to put that. The Joe says Blackbeard raids Wano plus Big Mom. Blackbeard gets Big Mom or Kaido's Devil Fruits. I do think that stuff is possible. I just don't know if that's cover story stuff. We could put it. Blackbeard pulls up on Wano. I think that might be a bit much for cover story, though. Because it's not like... So Blackbeard pulled up on Whole Cake Island in the cover story. Right? The Blackbeard Pirates. But that was a very minor incident, right? Like, that's cover... It's not minor, it's significant, right? But it is ultimately... It was just to pick up pudding, right? Blackbeard pulling up on Wano, that's different in the sense that Wano is this whole... You know, it's a very, very... It's an island that we got very, very deep into and has a really, really... Like, we spend a lot of time with the Straw Hats and everyone fixing Wano shit. We spent 150 chapters on that, right? Whole Cake Island, yeah, like, we spent time there, but it was an in-and-out mission in the first place. Like, we just spent 150 chapters saving Wano, restoring Wano to its old state. So for the Blackbeard Pirates to come and in the span of, like, a few cover stories, just, like, fuck all that over again. Like, we just dealt with Kaido. Now the Blackbeard Pirates come. In just a cover story, it's just, like, fucked over again. And if they get Pluton or something like that, which I imagine would be the goal, I think that's a bit much for all of that to happen just in a cover story. So I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. Zer Flivance, thanks a lot. Jin low diffs the Gorosei and Zoro kisses Kiku. We got a new ZKK. Zoro kisses Kiku. Also, let's get the stream likes to 200 real quick. Seraphim fight. I forgot about the Seraphim. Akbar Khan. I'm going to say Seraphim get released. Is that too simple of a thing to say? Seraphim get released or Seraphim get taken by the Blackbeard pirates? I'll say Seraphim get released. I got to kind of pick one there. Kid revealed to be alive? I mean, I don't think Kid died, so I don't think it's that big of a deal to reveal that he's alive. Mega says the Gorosei win. I'm not going to guess that. I'll say Seraphim released. Most guesses are incredibly interesting and game-changing, and then Smoker appearance. All right, Smoker, I don't know. Smoker reaction to Vegapunk's message, because I do think that'll happen. I'll say Seraphim release. Either the Seraphim are getting stolen by the Blackbeard pirates or they're getting released, right? One or the other's happening. Ignorant Weed, thanks for the 5. Since Oda Sensei has been saving Kobe for 30 years, do you think he will be one of the major characters in the final saga? I think major is a strong word. I think that if I had to do a quick guess, right? Like if I'm saying off the top, right? Off the top. We'll get back into bingo for a second, but this is just a fun question. Morj, come on, man. These are big ideas. Need some big font. Guesses on most significant characters. Final saga. My guesses will be basically most significant. I think are basically going to be Strats are we take them for granted. Strats are guaranteed, right? They don't really count. I'll just group them all together, right? Straw Hats, I think Sabo, I think Law. I actually think. Do I want to put Kid is either going to be fucking important as fuck or not important at all. I'm going to put fucking important as fuck. I've put videos out roasting Kid, etc., but at the end of the day, I do think that it's possible. I think Kobe's in there. I think Vivi's in there. I think Momonosuke is in there. I'm going to say Dragon and Shanks. These are all good guys. See, most significant characters. I think out of the good guys, these are the ones that really will matter. Straw Hats, Sabo, Law, Kid, Kobe, Vivi, Momonosuke, Dragon, Shanks. That seems about right. Am I missing somebody? Missing anybody? I think that these are the characters that are kind of framed as main characters. Sabo's Flame Emperor, etc. Law's been more significant than most of the Straw Hats in the New World in the first place. Kid, it seemed like Oda was shaping him in that direction and then just seemed to axe him, but now I feel like the axing is more so set up for some future significance in terms of character growth. Dragon and Shanks, I think, will be the most important characters from the Old Guard. Kobe, obviously, I think just in terms of the Marines, I think a lot is going to be done through Kobe. I wish I could put Smoker in here. I just can't in good confidence do that right now. And then I think Vivi is going to be huge for the world at large, like kingdoms, nations, etc. Uniting that, diplomacy. I still think she gets the paw fruit. And Momonosuke, we know that Wano is really important for a reason. We know that we were in Wano for some reason. Like Big Mom even talked about how Wano's tied to the One Piece itself. So Momonosuke being in charge of Wano is a big deal. There's something to do there. All right. Moving on. Deshaun Comedy, thanks for being a Pirate King tier member for 3 months. Watch Summertime Rendering. I've heard about that. I'm gonna watch that anyway, because my friend back home who's into anime has recommended that multiple times for the mystery. And you're saying easily best and most intriguing mystery anime. It's a perfect anime for you. Yeah, I've heard a lot about that. I'm gonna watch that. Great action / anime. I didn't put that in the bracket thing because that's just I'm gonna watch that regardless. A lot of those I will watch regardless, but that one I felt like I didn't even need the vote on. There's no point. Great action / anime and has horror elements. I'd be surprised if you're not hooked after the first episode. No, from everything I've heard from personal recommendation, I think that's in there. Flamenco the mallet. Buggy, so I do think that Buggy has a good shot at being really significant. Especially he's the leader of Cross Guild and everything like that. But my question is kind of, so the characters I listed, Kobe, Sabo, Law, Kid, they are ultimately generally written as serious characters with like serious character arc or character storylines, etc. to get through. With Buggy, obviously he got a really significant and real moment recently in chapter, I feel like it was 1082 or something. You know, the moment that he had is like, I'm going after the One Piece, we're going after the One Piece moment. I don't know if Buggy's going to be written as a serious character beyond that, or if that was kind of the big character moment for him. I missed a super? I'm sorry. 1 second. You know, like, after this, was Buggy like that was a great moment. It's beyond anything that I think I or anyone expected for Buggy. So for me, it's just like, is Oda going to continue kind of trying to write like a serious path for Buggy? So when I wrote like most significant characters, I'm talking in terms of, not just in terms of being important to the plot, but in terms of the writing around them being a central pillar of the story. And I think that that's the case for all of the characters that I listed. I don't know. I would love to see more significant writing for Buggy, but I don't know if that's actually going to happen. Or if Oda kind of did what he needed to do and pushed Cross Guild into the mix, mainly for plot purposes and fights, you know? JWP says Shirahoshi and Buggy. Shirahoshi is an important pick that I forgot. Yeah, I would agree that Shirahoshi would likely be very, very important. I mean, she's a fucking ancient weapon, so that's a good pick. Buggy, I don't know. Buggy's a maybe. Like, I'd be down for it, but I just don't know if that's something that I'm confident would be the case. Whereas I'm confident that Sabo's clearly going to be very important in this final stretch of the story. I'm confident that that Law is going to continue to be important. But Buggy keeps surprising, and keeps surprising me, keeps surprising readers. I think that's, you know, it's a big part of what his appeal is. Hussam Hashmi, thanks a lot. Anna will come back in the final saga or post Egghead. I'm not going to put that here, but I do think it's very possible. But I'm not going to put that here. Oh, Jacko Diamond says Emu Devil Fruit reveal. I don't know if we're going to get that in Egghead itself, because that'd be pretty insane, right? We would be getting... Like, initially it was just like, holy shit, we're getting to see Saturn, like, a Gorosei fight. And then it was like, no, you're getting to see all of the Gorosei fight. All of the Gorosei's Devil Fruit abilities. So for Emu to be on top of that, that'd be pretty insane. Marcel Beans, thanks for the 2. Emu gets credit for killed Vices post-Egghead. Killed Vice Admirals? Nah, maybe. I think it would be funny if Buggy continues to get the majority of the credit for what Cross Guild does, for sure. All right, we need 2 more good things to put in here. Did everyone just agree to misspell Hancock here? I don't think Hancock is going to be as important. I think she'll be... Okay, there's plenty of characters that I think are going to be involved in the final saga, but I don't think Hancock has ever been framed as one of the most, like, a main character in One Piece, you know? Like, I think Yamato can play a really big role, but I don't think to the same degree as Momonosuke or something. I think Hancock will be irrelevant. Gorosei Fusion. Holy shit, wouldn't that be sick? Zedeko El Negro says, Gorosei Fusion into 1. Wouldn't that be amazing? That would be so sick. Gorosei Fusion into 1. That is the first time I've heard that idea. I don't think it's going to happen, but that would be insane. I think that would be the strongest character we've ever seen, minus Emu. If the Gorosei all fused into one character. I don't think that's a thing, but, you know. Garp is dead. I'm not putting that. Luffy mom reveal. I'm not putting that. All Gorosei go down. I'm not doing that. Gorosei combine attack. Duh. Let's put Frankie comes in clutch to to save the day in some way. Let's do that. Frankie comes in clutch. That's wishful thinking. Now we just need one more. Dragon looking west? Nah, that's... Morj face reveal? Loud Waffle says it was foreshadowed in Thriller Bark. Only Nico Robin refused to join Fusion that time. Oh, that was one of the best One Piece moments. Man, Thriller Bark was such a... It's such a fun arc on reread. So many good moments. More Rocks lore. Ryuma mentioned by Venus Juro. That would be cool. Benor says, can I read your Miss Super now? Oh, shit, I didn't know it was your Super I missed. Hold on. Oh, I think I missed a couple. Did I? JWP, did I read this? Benor, I'm getting you in 1 second. If you count post Egghead Akainu making drastic move after Vagabond... Oh, no, we did this already. Yeah, that's in the list, essentially. Behenort said, world government needs York for more Mother Flames and probably also for Seraphim maintenance, especially as they continue to grow. I think she's leaving with Gorosei. Yeah, but that's one of the reasons that I'm wondering if York doesn't end up with the Gorosei, if the Gorosei don't successfully get York, because I wonder if York is too valuable in the sense that if they do successfully get York, then the entire world is fucked because you can't really do anything. If Imu can fire that weapon whenever Imu pleases, then nobody can do anything, right? So the moment that the world government gets York, it's essentially game over, unless we get some stipulation like it will take X amount of time to create more Mother Flames, so the world government needs to be defeated by them. But one of the things that I'm thinking is that what if Blackbeard gets York first, thereby delaying the world government as like the final enemy, right? Blackbeard doesn't have a means to use Mother Flames and such, but if Blackbeard gets York first, right, then once the Strides defeat Blackbeard, then York falls into the world government's hands, and now it's basically like, okay, the whole world is basically going to get blown up. Like, all the rebelling nations will get blown up in the next, couple weeks, essentially, as soon as York makes the world government their Mother Flames, which spurs the imperative to to really get the fire under everyone's asses to go defeat the world government right then. You get what I'm saying? Like, to me, it's like the final piece, York falling into the world government's hands, the means to use this ancient weapon falling into the world government's hands. I wonder if that's something that might happen in the as the final arc in the story begins. You know what I'm saying? Aether, thanks a lot. Rock's face and slight lore reveal. Yeah, I think that's very, very possible. That would be most likely to me between Egghead and Elbaf. I think I could put that down. Marcel Bean says Kuma finally sees Nika. Ooh, shit, I could put that down as well. I also saw someone say someone eats Kuma's fruit. Now I don't know which one I want to put as the final thing. So options are, let's not take any of the other ones down. So options are Rock's face reveal, Kuma sees Nika, and someone eats Kuma's fruit. I don't know if you guys can even read that. John678, thanks a lot. Dragon only has one fight. Devil fruit reveal then. Who is it? I don't know if you're saying that this is something to guess, or if you're asking me a general question, but I think if Dragon has only one fight in the series, I feel like the one fight would be either against... I feel like it's only the Gorosei that really... Gorosei... I used to think Dragon matching up briefly against Akainu would be cool to see, but now I don't know if that's actually going to happen. It just feels like they might be on two totally different paths after this, with... I don't know if Akainu would even be wanting to... how Akainu's going to feel once he learns all of this about the... what the world government is doing and everything. So Dragon versus Gorosei or Dragon versus God's Knights are the two things that kind of make most sense to me. Dragon has had conflicts with Blackbeard in the past. Here, we'll do a poll. Mr. NK says, just make a poll, Morj. We'll do a poll. I think Kuma seeing Nika it's kind of weak because I feel like it seems likely to happen, right? Obviously, none of these are guaranteed, but final bingo spot. I feel like Rock's face reveal is a bit bolder. Someone eating shit. Did the poll too early? Gotta end it. One more time. Kuma sees Nika, and someone eats Kuma's fruit. Someone eats Kuma's fruit is contingent on Kuma death, so it's extra risky. He already saw Luffy in Gear 5th. Yeah. So I guess there's not even... Okay, we're just going to put Rock's face reveal. Someone eating Kuma's fruit is very bold, but it's like... It's almost too bold, because we already have... We're not going to do Kuma sees Nika, because he has technically seen that. It's just... With him, it's like his consciousness is half there, half not there, or mostly gone, so it's like, how much is he even processing? I guess the question would be, would Kuma have a moment like Bonnie did where she sees and realizes, okay, this is Nika? So that's one thing, but that's a little wordy to put into a text box. Kuma, someone eating Kuma's fruit, it's contingent on Kuma dying, so already it's like, we're making a guess here. Many believe Kuma will die, but, Oda, it's Oda. So, it's a guess on top of a guess. I guess we could put it. At the very least, then, to be intelligent, I should put them in the same row, right? I'm not going to rearrange things. Can I rearrange? No, I don't think so. Alright, we'll do someone eats Kuma's fruit. Someone eats Kuma's fruit. Kuma sees Nika feels like a free space? Yeah, I think it's kind of cheesing it. Okay, so we got a pretty good... Yeah, this is interesting. I wonder what the arc... I'm trying to imagine if all of these things happen. I can see a world where all of these things happen. Right? Bonnie joining the crew, if I'm going to say real quick, I feel like Bonnie joining the crew, I feel is like... Can I, like, fuck with... Nah, whatever. I think this is very likely. Yeah, I can. But it's a little user interface unfriendly. Okay, hold on. JWP, thanks for the 5. Interesting that Oda has been hiding Rock's silhouette in a very similar way to how he has Imu. Even after showing God Valley, he refuses to show Rock's. I agree, but at the same time, sometimes Oda just hides characters and makes them a silhouette just to make them a silhouette, and there's no real reveal to it. I think the times that he does that, like sometimes there's a big reveal to it, but other times it's just that he prefers to save it for when he has time to actually dedicate a sort of chapter to the introduction, So the moment that we got the Rock's pirates showing up at God Valley in the Egghead, in the Kuma flashback, it was already amidst a lot of other things happening with Kuma, and I think Oda didn't want to draw too much focus away from this being Kuma's backstory and his moment. So I think it wasn't time to give us the Rock's face reveal yet. I think it's entirely possible that Rock's face matters and that it's going to be mind-blowing in some way or something like that, or we realize something based off it. I think that's entirely possible. But at the same time, it's kind of like, I remember, like, Green Bull's face was hidden from us for a long time, and at the end of the day, it just turned out it's just fucking Green Bull. It's just what he looks like. Odin. I think Odin we saw in silhouettes for a long time, and then eventually we just saw the dude, and it's like, it's Odin. So I don't think it's always as though when Oda's hiding... Same with Vegapunk, same with a lot of characters. I think Oda wants to save face reveals for certain characters that he likes a lot, or he thinks are important, for when they get a cool introductory scene, and it's just a more dramatic way for him. So I'm not reading too much into the Rock's mystery in terms of what he looks like, but I do have some thoughts on it that I'm not going to share here of what could be the case, but it's a little conspiracy theory-esque, so maybe that'll make it to a Morj cast, weekly podcast that come out every Friday that you can get if you're a Yonko tier member on YouTube or on Patreon, but that's where I save, I guess, more so out there ideas. Okay, Bonnie joining the crew I think is very likely. It's almost like it was pushed by Vegapunk himself, right? Punk Records being destroyed, I think that's very, very likely. Iron Giant getting destroyed, I don't know about that. It's kind of bolding. That didn't do anything. Alright, whatever. I'm not going to do some color coding shit. But Iron Giant getting destroyed, I don't know about that. Smoker reaction to Vegapunk, I think that this is a good shot. I think that this is very, very likely. I think that this is very likely as well. So Iron Giant getting destroyed is the only thing in this road that I think is... I don't know if it would get destroyed. Because it's like, that's almost like predicting like Zunisha getting killed, you know? That's a very bold prediction. Can I say gets fucked up? Like, does it have to die? I'm gonna say gets fucked up. Is that fair? Like, Iron Giant dying? I don't know. Because we just met the dude, right? Like, this is the equivalent of predicting Zunisha dies. I think that that's pretty bold. So I'm gonna say Iron Giant gets fucked up, like the Gorosei fuck it up. I think it will do some fucking up initially, like it will fuck them up initially, and then I think it will possibly get fucked up after. I don't know. The man with the flame scar face reveal. We're already out of spots. Let's see. Dragon makes a move. I'm gonna say physical move, not just conversation. Emu face reveal. I don't know about Dragon making a physical move. That's always a long shot. Emu face reveal. I think that post Egghead Island, I think that's very likely. Maybe at the very end of Egghead Island or right after Egghead Island. I think that's a good shot. I think that this is very likely. This is a long shot. This is not really based on a ton. I did drop a whole video talking about why I think it's likely, but it's putting together a lot of pieces. I don't think it's intuitively right off the bat very likely. Name a few moves, weapon revealed. I think that that's a good shot of finding out. It's because they already hinted it. Like even Ivankov, Sabo, and Dragon, their conversation, they're already talking about how could it be an ancient weapon, you know? So I think it being Uranus is a good shot. Luffy finds out he has a Nika fruit. Some people are saying that's already happened, but I don't think it's explicitly been the case. Mihawk fighting someone, yeah, it's a maybe. Morj putting out Wano analysis video, so that's a good goal for me. Frankie comes in, clutch. I don't know about that. This whole row is risky. This whole row right here. This whole row's banking on some shit. Cross Guild gets a new member before Elbaf. That'd be fun. I don't know if it's guaranteed. Sanji versus Mars. I think there's a solid shot we get to see Sanji versus Gorosei for a bit. I don't know if it's Mars or not. Someone eats Kuma's fruit. That's dependent on this. So this is like an extra risky box. Zoro versus Venus Juro. I think we will get to see a tiny bit of this. Lilith gets on board the ship. This is risky. Kuma's death. I think that this should be a shoe-in, but we know how the way One Piece works. Vivi gets on board the ship. I think decently likely. Seraphim release. I think they're either getting released or the Blackbeard pirates are snagging them because they're just in bubbles. New bounties. Maybe. Solid maybe. Because to me, the way I view new bounties is like two options, right? In story, out of story. In story, should they get new bounties? Fucking obviously. Like, basically, the outcome... This is an incident... The narrator even says that this incident is like a huge fucking... Like, what's about to happen is a huge fucking incident that will shake the world, right? This alone is probably going to be the single most insane thing that the Straughts have ever done. And depending on what's revealed, like the truth that comes out of it, this could be maybe the most status quo altering act or event that any pirate has ever done in history. Like, forget Roger, forget Rox, whoever. It's possible that if what the Straughts are helping facilitate here allows the entire world to find out the truth about the world government, this goes beyond anything that any pirate has ever done. It goes beyond, like, yeah, like, this would be everything, right? This would be deserving of Luffy and the Straughts all getting huge bounty increases. I mean, like, fucking Blackbeard and his crew got random bounty increase. Like, Blackbeard got a bounty increase for no reason between, like, the time he was sitting his ass on Hachinosu in 925 and, like, post Wano for doing what? Like, going to Amazon Lily? Raiding Whole Cake Island or whatever? Like, this is insane shit that they're doing right now, right? So, in story, it would make no sense for them not to get new bounties, assuming that Vegapunk's message goes off, right? So that's one. And like they're beating up Gorosei. They're like punching Gorosei and shit like that. Like this is like big no shit, right? Like no one's even fucking hit a Celestial Dragon in God knows how long before Luffy. You know, so what the fuck they're doing to the 5 most significant Celestial Dragons? Like everything they're doing on this island is just huge. Like it should warrant the most insane bounty increase of all time. However, that's in story. Out of story, the argument is, well, the Strahds just got bounties in Wano. Usually we get more of a time gap before we get new bounties. So it might be too rapid succession. Also, we're just beginning the final saga, so maybe you don't want to pump the bounties up too high just yet. You want to, ease things into it. So out of story, just for the sake of drama and the sense of, like, taking time and escalating or whatever, maybe Oda doesn't want to do new bounties just yet. So I see the argument for that. But in story, just wouldn't make any sense for the Strahds to not get, like, insane, unprecedentedly huge bounty increases for this. Saturn is permanently defeated. I think that's a good bet. So really, a lot of these are coin tosses. I think every single thing here is decently possible, but I would not bet money on actually hitting bingo like 5 in a row, because I think, at the end of the day, a lot of these things just won't happen. Deshaun Combi, thanks for the 5. Ofcom is too obsessed with parallels. OP community is too obsessed with parallels. There's no way people think characters like Sabo and Kobe are more important than Zoro and Sanji and will be stronger. No, if you... come on. Sabo, Law, Kid, Kobe, these characters are not more important than Zoro and Sanji. I think that annoys me to no end, because it's just like, well, the narrative... Because the Sabo argument for Sabo being strong just has never made... I mean, it does make some sense, but it's just like, what is it? He's not meant to be like Ace. Like, Ace is supposed to be like Pirate King material, right? Like, Ace was supposed to be like Pirate King, like Joy Boy material. Ace was special, right? Sabo's like a watered-down version of Ace, right? So I don't buy the argument that Sabo's supposed to represent Ace's strength, because that's just never been the case. Because, like, Ace just, like, Sabo's not even a Conqueror's Haki user, He's a watered-down version of what Ace would have been. 2, in terms of feats, Sabo has no real good feats, at least not that keep up with, like, what Zoro and Sanji and stuff have been doing nowadays. Like, Sabo's best show, like, beating Burgess, which means nothing, and, like, holding his own against Fujitora while Fujitora was holding back more than any other admiral in the series that has ever held back. That's not impressive. So feat-wise, like, it's impressive relative to, like, Yonko 2s or Yonko 3 commanders or something, but, like, Zoro and Sanji have been doing much bit. Like, look at what Zoro did to Kaido. Look at what Sanji did to, like, I guess Sanji doesn't have quite as much, but, Sanji, we got to see Sanji versus Seraphim. We got to see Sanji and Kizaru. Like, okay, Sabo and Sanji, I'll say that's a toss-up, but at the very least, like, I don't know where people come out putting Sabo above, like, other characters like Zoro, Marco, stuff like that, right? Law, characters who have had a lot of feats against a lot of characters and just done way more and shown way more, right? And then the final argument for Sabo is just like, well, narratively, he's supposed to be important, but it's like, yeah, but narratively, he's not supposed to be more important than Zoro or Sanji, like the 2 wings of the Pirate King. Like, he's not nearly as important as those 2. Those are the fucking... That's 2 and 3, in terms of combat significance in the story. I mean, Sabo is stronger than Ace was at Marineford, but that's because Sabo's 2 years older, right? I'm saying that Sabo doesn't represent Ace's full potential, though, like some people think that Sabo does. Like, Sabo's not a Conqueror's Haki user. He never had that, like, Sabo never had that dog in him like Luffy and Ace did. He's never been written or framed to be of that potential. Alright. Jinbei has a kid. Assad Said says Sanji catching strays. I mean, I'm just calling it, which is that I don't think that Sanji necessarily has the feats that some of these other characters do, like Zoro and Marco and such. But I do think that just based on the pattern that Sanji always ends up fighting opponents similar in strength to Zoro, I kind of just tend to, because that's such a consistent dynamic, I tend to give Sanji the benefit of the doubt that when the time comes, Oda's gonna have Sanji fighting someone in the same ballpark of strength as Zoro. So, however far Zoro gets, like the feats that he does, the things that he accomplishes, etc., I kind of mentally check off that, okay, at some point we're gonna see Sanji doing something similar. But Zoro and Sabo don't have that relationship. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, Sanji, and a lot of what he can do is often you can kind of predict it based on what Oda's having Zoro do early on. But Sabo's totally in another category, right? Sabo needs his own feats. Ignorant Weed, thanks for the 5. The bigger question is, are Sabo, Law, Kobe more important than Frankie or Brook? Ooh, shit. Yeah, they are. I think just straight up. Law joined the story later than Brook, right? And very quickly became a significant, like, very quickly got more chapter time, panel time, significant story, character writing time, etc. than Brook. Sorry, Law joined, I don't know if I said Sabo or Law there, but Law right away was more of a main character than Brook ever was. Right away. From Punk Hazard to Dressrosa, Law is actually essentially written like the main character of the story. Like, there's just no argument. There's no argument character writing wise, even panel time. Like, the one thing Brook will have over them, except for maybe Law, is panel time, but panel time doesn't make you more significant, right? These characters, they just get more writing focus. They're more more important to the narrative, more changes if you remove them from the narrative. Yeah, I think Frankie's still got a shot based on what's going to happen here at Egghead Island, and I think Frankie and Pluton and everything like that is significant. So I think Frankie's still got a shot. With Brook, there's nothing to really... like, Brook's biggest thing that we can expect out of him... I would love to see more out of Brook, but there's nothing I see in the near future in Elbaf or Egghead Island. The biggest thing we can kind of expect to see out of him would be reuniting with Laboon, which is a nice personal writing moment, but it's not significant in the broader story, right? JWP, thanks for another 5. Holy shit, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. Wade Turner, Cheesy Skull, Goku, Ongo Gablogian. That's an It's Always Sunny reference. And Ricky Servin, everybody say thanks to JWP. Thanks again, man. I really, really appreciate it. As do the good people in chat. Just some guy with naturally wavy hair. Rank these characters: Sabo, Kid, Kobe, and Law. Are you saying in strength or significance? Let's say significance, right? Significance, I can do it 2 ways. I can say significance so far or predicted significance by the end of the story. Because significance so far is very easy. It's Law, then... It's not easy. I lied. It's easy to say Law's number 1 and Kobe's number 4. I would say that. Law number 1, Kobe number 4 in significance so far. Kid, I think, has been more significant than Sabo, just on the back of Wano. I think slightly more significant than Sabo, just on the back of Wano. I think Kid has. If you're saying by the end of the story, then there's 2 ways that this can go. I think if it's for the rest of the story, I think Kid is either number 4 or Kid is number 1. If he's if he's just kind of done, then he's done, right? Like, defeated by Shanks, out of the story. If, on the other hand, this Shanks moment is just a setup for character growth and him coming back, and Oda even said from the beginning he always expected Kid to be the most important out of the Supernova, and Kid seems to be the most planned out of the Supernova, the most built up, etc. If we assume that Kid's best stuff is yet to come, then it's likely that by the end of the story, Kid will have outstripped even Law in significance, right? Kobe... I think Law... Okay, how do I say this? Law could drop from 1 to 4 in terms of... It's impossible to predict this, honestly. I don't know why I'm even trying, but... Law could drop from 1 to 4 in terms of significance. This is not my personal character bias or anything. I'm just thinking through. Purely because you see pillars for where the other characters can fall, which is... like clear pillars, which is Kobe's being framed as the future of the Marines, the hero of the Marines, the one to pass the torch down to from Garp. So depending how in-depth we're going to go into the internal conflict among the Marines, the change that needs to take place in the Marines, how prominent the sword versus the rest of the Marines sort of dynamic is going to play out to be, how much need we will have for Kobe to step up and take that mantle as just being the new face of the Marines. We could see Kobe have a very pivotal role over the course of the rest of the story, because the Marines are such a significant pillar of the entirety of One Piece, right? And if Kobe's at the heart of the Marine storyline and the protagonist, in a sense, of the entire Marine storyline, Kobe has a huge role to play. And then Sabo's the same shit, but with the Revolutionary Army. Sabo's already kind of being framed as the face of the Revolutionary Army and the one that's prompting a lot of the change, right? And I don't even like Sabo that much as a character, but that's just the way that it seems that it's going to be, right? So Kobe and Sabo, you can kind of pencil into these two categories. Law and Kid occupy a similar space in that they're the two Supernova that are kind of riding the same wave as Luffy and fucking shit up in the pirate world like Luffy. Law is more locked into the Will of D storyline, so that exists and everything like that, but ultimately he's not going to be the most important character, and like maybe he might learn about it, but there's other shit going on, like other Will of D characters, right? Like Luffy, Straw Hats, etc. Like Law's not going to be the one to figure out the Void Sentry, yada yada. So I'm like, in the aspect of being Luffy's most significant pirate rival or something like that, or being an accompanying significant pirate figure that is side by side with Luffy, and like, I just don't even know what exactly Law and Kid's final roles are, but if either of them are to make it to the end game to where they're set up to be fighting against a Gorosei or something like that, I do think that it's possible that Kid, if Kid is supposed to remain in this role and be significant, might be more likely for that than Law. I guess the way I'm looking at it is that if Kid is kind of out of the story for the most part, then I think Law retains his prominence and might continue to be the most significant character outside of the Straw Hats from now till the end. But if ultimately Oda was always planning on Kid basically kind of having a huge character section, mainly in the final saga, then I think that in this part of the story it's possible that Kid supplants Law in a lot of that. I don't know if any of that's making sense, but that's because a lot of this is so vague. I just think that Kobe and Sabo's roles are more locked in, whereas Law and Kid, there's more of a variance in terms of how significant they could be from now to the end, with like Kid potentially having zero significance or like extremely high, and Law maybe maintaining his level of significance, which is extremely high, or maybe having to bow aside a little bit if Kid becomes more prominent. I don't know. Big Al, thanks a lot. Sabo's so watered down he got drowned by World Noble. Okay. That's funny. Yuru's gonna come in like a dark horse. Oh, let's get the Streamlux to 200 real quick. Watch Yuru just be the most important character ever. I mean, look, like, there's some cool shit with Kid going on, by the way. You guys have heard about the Vegapunk Kid number 7, like, Vegapunk number 7 theories and stuff like that. I've thought about Kid potentially being a clone. I think all of these things are possible. Weevil recruited in Cross Guild. Yeah, Ongo Gablogian, you did get a membership. Yes, thanks to JWP. Say thanks to JWP, man. When are Uruj and Weevil going to do something, lol? I wonder how important Uruj is going to be. Because, you know what's funny? So if you look at the original Supernova bounties, right? Right? Let's look at the Supernova bounties. So I thought that this was interesting, and I think I'm just realizing this, but like consciously, but it's interesting to look at. Yeah, was this the? Yeah, this is the initial one. No. This is the. Yeah, is this the initial one? No, I want the initial ones. Where's the initial ones at? Okay, yeah, here's the initial. God damn it, this is the newest stuff. Give me old school. Give me old school. Where the fuck are their initial bounties? Okay, I'm gonna have to say off the top of my head. All right. From what I recall, their initial bounties went kind of like, or initially it was kind of like this, right? There were 3 supernova. It's not just by bounties. I guess what I'm saying is like at Sabaody, we kind of got to see obviously the 3 prominent supernovas, right? Luffy, Kid, and Law were all framed in their own light, a little bit separate from everybody else. So we got to see that. And then we also got to see the rest of the supernova, right? And at that point in time, the ones with the rest of the supernova that we kind of were led to believe were strong were like outside of the big 3, right? Luffy, Kid, and Law were initially made to seem strong, right? They were set aside, obviously grouped together, right? The others that we were made to believe were strong, the highest set of bounties besides them were Hawkins, Apu, X-Drake, right? Hawkins, Apu, X-Drake. Anything else? Hawkins, Apu, X-Drake, right? And funnily enough, those are the ones that basically turned out to not... Oda didn't have anything really planned for them, and they kind of got fucked up over the course of the New World, right? So they were kind of busts. And then the supernovas that everyone initially underestimated the most because they were the lowest supernovas in terms of bounty, right? Which were Bonnie, Beige, and Uruj, right? If you remember, like, for a long time, at least coming, like, pre-time skip, coming out of the pre-time skip, etc., people had the lowest expectations for those because Oda didn't really... he gave them the lowest bounties, and he didn't give them the best showings, etc., in Sabaody, right? Those are the other 3 that are still up and kicking and remaining, right? So I think that's kind of interesting that, like, the big 3, we always knew that they were going to be significant. But then beyond that, it seems like Oda kind of had a middle group that, like a group of busts that he kind of, like, wrote in, like, okay, Apu, Hawkins, X-Drake, like, we'll give them high bounties, but they're not going to pan out too much, basically. And then on the flip side, the ones that he was kind of low-key about, like Capone Beige, Uruj, the lowest bounty of the supernova besides Zoro, even Bonnie, like, those are the ones that he secretly had more story in mind for, which I think is interesting. You know, I don't know if that was even conscious or that's just the way that shit worked out, but it is a little bit of a, way that it worked out. I skipped it twice. It's whatever. Hawkins had a higher bounty than Law, which was weird. I think Oda just wanted to... I think multiple characters did, didn't they? Oh, shit. Okay. Camera okay? Is everything working? I guess everything's working. I think Oda didn't want to make it that cut and dry, straightforward, that, like, okay, the 3 highest bounties are the 3 ones that are the most important or whatever. I think Oda also just doesn't want to... Like, he does try to avoid the whole, like, bounties equal strength thing, right? JWP, thanks for the 5. Big Law fan, but Oda's made statements about how he's been waiting to write the final saga, plus he made the kid statement, so... Also, what is Weevil's purpose? Oh, shit, I fucking forgot about Weevil. Dude, Weevil is to me the biggest one of the biggest question mark characters, period, because I don't have a fucking good guess for him. It does make more sense that Weevil's now tying back into, like, the clones storyline and everything like that. I still think that Law is going to be significant in the final saga because I think Oda is attached to the character and the character is wildly popular, right? Oda does make the hard decisions, like he killed Ace even though Ace was wildly popular, but that's rare. Like, we know Oda has difficulty killing off characters that he really likes, and Law's a character that he really likes and everybody else really likes too. I think that when Oda has significant plans for certain characters, though, I think that he still maintains those. So just because Law became more popular, I don't think that means that Oda's just axing Kid permanently. I imagine that Oda's still going to write what he wanted to write for Kid, and it's just that the Shanks incident is a significant part of that journey. That's my guess. The Water God, thanks a lot. Do you think Drake will still be important? He was in Law's flashback and looks like he still might have some importance. I don't know, because I've been down this road and burned too many times. Like, I thought Drake would be important. Yeah, I thought Hawkins would be important. I thought Apu would be somewhat important. It just doesn't once it's happened too many times, it's like I'm gonna stop assuming that something could be. Drake being in Law's flashback could just be making it feel more like a living world, a fleshed out world. Like, oh, these characters' paths happened to intersect in the past. Maybe it means something significant, maybe not. Missed your message, Mr. NK? Let me get that real quick. I think I missed a couple right here. Let me catch them. Hold on. Sorry about that, guys. Covered this. Did I miss your message, Mr. NK? Was it a Yonko or not Yonko, like a membership message? Because I don't see it here. I see the Water God who asked the Drake message. That's the last thing that I'm seeing here. I don't see one from you. Let me hit refresh one more time. Yeah, I don't see one. Sorry. Apu officially the worst Supernova? Kid will receive peak development in Elbaf? I mean, look, I'm going to be honest. I think that there is a possibility for that, even though we've all roasted Kid for so long. Just because Oda's been doing so phenomenally well with side characters this whole arc. Like, I did a video on this a while back, but, if Oda can do what he did with Buggy and suddenly make us feel like Buggy had one of the best character writing moments in recent memory, and just Buggy, Kobe, what he's doing with Aokiji, Kizaru right now, Kuma, obviously, Bonnie. I really feel like if Oda had all these plans, it really feels like Oda, for all of his major side characters, top to bottom, even fucking Sentamaru, right? Even fucking Lucci is getting nice little character moments being shown that, like, showing some depth and, like, how he's actually cares for his comrade and stuff. Like, keep in mind, the Lucci thing is impressive because the way we were fucking introduced to Lucci as a villain, the defining shock factor, if at all, was that he had worked with these Galila Company comrades for so long, for years, for 5 years, and he felt nothing for them. And not only would he betray them without a moment of hesitation, he would kill them on the spot, casually, and heartlessly, without feeling a thing, right? That was the Lucci that we were introduced to. It is a tremendous change to see the Lucci of today, who's now asking his boss, his superiors, who could kill him on the spot themselves, like, one request, like he's in this moment completely helpless and, like, terrified, but he's asking, like, please, can you not kill my friend Kaku? That's huge. I think a lot of it goes back to CP9 work on his, work to help his hospital funds and everything like that, and essentially saving him in his time of need. So, I mean, I know I'm going off on a little Lucci tangent, but I think that is amazing. But to me, that just goes to show that Oda really has planned out so much for the side characters of the story that now I don't think that the Kid moment is just a write-off moment. I think that if he said in past interviews that he had more plans for Kid, and if he's built up Kid and kept him relevant for so long, I no longer think that this is just a goodbye forever type moment. I think that there is potential for the character. I don't know. Give Kid Conquers and can't give Kid Conquers and leave him into ruins as B-Money. I mean, you can, but it's just like it would feel a bit of a waste, I guess. Rodrigo Aliago says, Kid, dude is dead, you all get over it. I mean, he might be. I don't know if he's dead. Dead seems a bit extreme, but he might be out of the story. I don't know. The Final Storm, thanks for the 5. I believe Brook versus Apu was a missed opportunity. I would agree so too, man. Not even because of music, but Brook was summoned to deal with Namakura versus the Long Arm Tribe. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Shit. Yeah, did I ever tell you guys this? I might not have mentioned it. So imagine young Morj. Morj in, maybe 9th grade, 8th grade or something? Whatever year Saboti was going on. I was in 9th grade from 2009 to 2010. Maybe that's when Saboti was going on. I forget. But imagine young Morj. Maybe I was in 8th grade. I might have been in 8th grade. I don't know what year Subodhi was going on. Anyway. Young Morj, right? Young Morj has come to expect that all the Strahds get, like, there's fights every arc, right? Like, once you enter an arc, like, I've been watching One Piece for so long, just finished Thriller Bark, etc., right? Just read it. And I've come to expect, right, that, you know, we arrive on an island. What we're trying to figure out is who's the bad guys, who are we going to be fighting, who are the villains here, and how are characters matching up, you know? That's what you just do when you're, you know, reading One Piece back in the day, right? We get to Thriller Bark. It's like, okay, who are the bad guys? Okay, we do English Shichibukai. Okay, wonder who's going to fight who, blah, 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 right? So Bodhi was like a huge game changer, obviously, because it was the first time that all got thrown out the window, and it was like, the Strahds are just here to get fucked, and they're not supposed to beat anybody outside of one fucking, like, prototype robot. But the Strahds are here to get fucked up, and then Impel Down, same thing. Luffy's here to get fucked up. Marineford, same thing. They're not supposed to get wins, right? But Subodhi was the first time that had happened. So Subodhi, you're entering, and you're trying to think, like, who are the Strahds going to fight? Who are they going to beat? And we begin the arc, and you were introduced to these fucking 11 Supernova. And that's so, like, 9 other Supernova. And that's so cool because I think at that point in time, there were 9 Straw Hats themselves. So it seemed perfect. Like, I was trying to pencil in the matchups for the Straw Hats versus the Supernova, and I think other people I wasn't super tuned into the community and stuff because, like, I didn't watch One Piece videos or anything like that. I would go on to sites to do One Piece debating, like on Naruto forums, to argue, like, well, I never typed myself, but I would read, like, comments of who's stronger than whom and stuff, but I was never really super tuned into the community itself. But sometimes I would see, like, random forum comments or, like, on my anime list or whatever. I also remember there was a period of time that I had to watch, like, you could get the newest One Piece chapters on YouTube. Like, you could literally watch YouTube videos to see it. So I do remember, like, you could read comments there and stuff. Anyway, I just remember, at least myself, in my own little bubble as, like, a private One Piece fan reader, I was just like, yeah, this arc seems like the Strahds are going to fight all these other pirates. Like, that's so cool. That's a perfect setup. It felt like it lined up very nicely. I was like, Luffy will fight Kid. Brook, like, some of the matchups seemed so correct. I was just like, this just makes sense. That obviously didn't happen, but after that went south, I still kind of just always believed, like, at least as pre-time skip played out, and after we'd seen a lot of the Supernova's abilities, I was like, okay, well then down the line at some point, the Strahds will get to fight the Supernovas because there's 9 and then there's 9. And, like, it just, like, some of the ability, like, Brook and Apu was one of the key things that stood out to me. I was like, they gotta fight, because, like, we gotta see Brook versus Apu, so it'll just be cool to see one day, like, the Strahds fighting these other Supernova captains or something. JWP, thanks a lot. Last Parking podcast was gas. Hashtag paid advertisement for real, for real. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. But I do think that the Last Parking podcast was a lot of fun because that's what, one, it was really fucking long. 2, it was the best set of questions that we'd ever gotten into because we got into so many different things, like other series, like a lot of One Piece talk, obviously, a lot of other series talk, games, movies, etc. Very, very wide and varied, and I was high the entire time. So that was the promised special spin on the podcast because we've got this long break to deal with. So yeah, I was high the entire Pirate King podcast. So I do think it was the most fun for me to do. It was the longest one, and I do think that was probably the best Pirate King podcast that's come out. Rodrigo Aliaga says, the podcasts are amazing, y'all. Definitely not a paid actor saying this. Okay, he's not. You did just join this last month, if I recall. Or you got your submission in. You joined and then you got your submission in just in the nick of time. The way the Pirate King podcasts work are that they're submission-based. So, like, everybody gets their questions in at the end of the month, and then I go through and I respond to them fairly in-depth. Again, more in-depth than I would on these streams because I have more time. Sea-Dog says thoughts on Loki. So this is going to sound bad, but, like, I'm at a point in the story where... Is anybody else at this point in the story where we all know Oda's specialty. Like, one of his specialties is, like, we get to an island, we learn about new characters, right? And then we're made to feel a lot for these new characters, yada, yada, right? He's really good at that. I'm at a point in the story where I'm kind of done with that. Just because he's been doing such a phenomenal job with... To me, it feels like the characters that we've already known for so long, those are the juiciest ones at this point to really delve into, right? Like, Kuma, Bonnie, like, these are some of the best, like, why am I saying no offense to Wano? Like, I will take this shit any day of the week over learning about, like, a new Scabbard of the Week's backstory or some shit, The Kuma's flashback, learning about Bonnie, but then even just all the other characters, right? Aokiji, Kizaru, like, the fucking, like, Kizaru Sentamaru flashback. I will take learning more about that shit any day of the week over, like going to a new island. Like, how do I say it? That stuff is all really good, but I just feel like we're at a stage in the story where, like, we've already got all the side characters that we need, right? Like, we're at the point where we want to learn about Dragon. We want to learn about Shanks, right? We want to learn about Blackbeard. Like, these are the backstories and the real, like, remaining character things that we've really been waiting on. So, to me, it's like, I'm almost mentally past the state in the story where I'm looking forward to, okay, we're getting to Dressrosa, and now I get to learn about Rebecca's backstory and, like, King Riku's thing and, like, Leo and the Tontadas and stuff. Now I'm like, okay, that's all good. You've done this phenomenally well for most of the story. I didn't vibe with a lot of the Wano stuff, but for the majority of the story, like, this has been One Piece's bread and butter. But now we're at a point where it's like, yeah, we're getting to Egghead Island, and the characters we're learning about are the ones that we've waited on for so long, like Kuma, Bonnie, stuff like that. Can we please keep that train going? Like, when we get to Elbaf, I want to learn about Shanks. I want to learn maybe about Kid. Like, maybe we can get more Kid stuff, When we move past that, I want to learn about Blackbeard. I want to learn about Dragon. Like, these are the backstories that I'm really, really looking forward to the most. These are the side characters that I want to learn about the most. Because that's all the stuff that's already set up. Already, we've been excited for. The groundwork is there. Can they be the side characters that we really get the most focus on for the rest of the One Piece, like, final saga, right? So with Loki, I'm going to be honest, like, I have zero interest in Loki right now. Here's the thing. I'm sure that Oda has, like, more likely than not, has something really, really good for that character. And by the time we get through it, I'll be like, yeah, I'm glad we got that, and that was really, really good, and maybe Loki's one of my favorite characters or something like that from then on. But me, at this moment in time, Loki is the last point of interest that I have in Elbaf whatsoever. Like, period. And I know that it's likely that we're going to have to get into it. I'm betting that there's going to be something good between Loki and Usopp, and maybe there's something really good there, writing-wise. So while I am very interested in Usopp's writing in Elbaf, I think that's the only reason that I'm moderately curious about what Loki's situation is. Maybe there's a tie-in, like, right there. But for me, it's just like, I'm not looking forward to meeting new island-based small-time characters and getting backstories or full-on character storylines for them that much. Like, in any sort of really centralizing way for the story. That's just the way I feel right now. I'm sure that will change as we move along, like, but at this moment in time, I'm just like, I'm thinking of so many things I'm excited for in Elbaf. Loki's at the bottom of my list for that. I just feel like, because Oda's been, again, I love side character stuff, but at this moment in time, we're delving into all these super interesting side characters that we're already really, really invested in and have been wanting to learn more about and get storylines for so long. So now I'm even less interested. Like, now my interest in, like, getting to meet new side characters who are, island-based citizens, it's dipped, Marco Saint, thanks a lot. Damn, you used to debate on Naruto forums too? You okay revealing your username if you even remember it? So, I did not actually personally debate on Naruto forums. I do think I made an account at one point, and maybe made, like, a couple posts or whatever, but I used to go on Naruto forums a lot and read a lot there of just, like, I think at the age I was at, like, this was all middle school time for the majority of it. I was a big One Piece fan, but I was also getting into other series like Bleach, Naruto, Fairy Tail, stuff like that at that point in time. So, and I was a huge One Piece fan, so I was just very... No, this extended past middle school a bit. Because I remember, like, going in... Like, post-Marine Forward, I remember going into Naruto forums a lot and just reading, like, any topic related to this shit of, like, Whitebeard versus, you know, like... If you remember, post-Marine Forward... Like, now we don't hold Marine Forward, Whitebeard, and as high of a like, because we've seen the other Yonko, we have even more perspective on how nerfed Whitebeard was at that point in time. But at that point in time, Whitebeard was kind of like One Piece community's, like, our top dog, just based off of Marine Forward, and the fact that everyone in the One Piece world was had been saying he was number one. So, like, if you went into Naruto forums, it was like a lot of topics were like, okay, Whitebeard from One Piece versus Madara from Naruto or something like that. That was a lot of common shit that came up, and I would just be like furious anytime I read any posts suggesting that Whitebeard didn't win some matchup. It was just dumb shit. But I didn't do that much typing myself. I do think I made an account at some point. But for me, it was just I spent a lot of time just sitting, reading power scaling debates between One Piece and other series, till eventually I got sick of it because I realized that this is all stupid, because every series just, like, the series just have different scales of power as things go along. It's not like... It doesn't mean anything that, yeah, like, a lot of One Piece characters are not going to hold up to, like, a lot of top-tier Bleach characters or something like that, you know? Just doesn't mean anything over the... As you learn... like, as you get perspective, it just doesn't mean anything. The Water God, thanks a lot. Probably my audience will not be satisfied if the reason for defeating Kaido is just because Luffy's punch is so strong. Was the Nika fruit planned? Okay, I do think the Nika fruit was definitely planned. It just seems too intrinsic to everything that Oda's doing right now for it to be like a random change later in the story. And there's small things that Oda said earlier on that make me feel like his concept for Luffy was always of this sort of like, this character that is supposed to have these like really funny, silly abilities or something. And I think he just had to nerf the character for a long period of time with just being a rubber man, so as not to break the story. Because it's hard, like, you can't really write... Like, if you give Luffy Looney Tunes powers off the bat, it's hard to write this many arcs and this many battles and everything like that with those sort of, like, kind of absurdly hacks broken abilities, you know? So I feel like I do feel like this was always the concept that Oda had for how Luffy would fight. And if you just think about Luffy as a character, it just fits so well. Like, this is... Yeah, like, this is, like, Oda thought of a protagonist like this, like the Nika version of Luffy, and then realized he had to humanize him and nerf him more for the majority of the story and work his way up to getting to being that version of himself. Because otherwise you don't have a story, you just have a broke protagonist from the beginning, and who doesn't feel very human and very as grounded as he needed to be. But the big punchline, look, I'm not going to defend the ending of Wano and how, like, Kaido was defeated or whatever, but I think it's the most boring climax to any major One Piece fight, period. Just like 3 chapters of a big punch clash amidst random poorly placed flashbacks. But I don't think I think that maybe he phrased it poorly, if like Luffy defeating Kaido because his punch is so strong. Like, I don't know. Ultimately, it was his punch being the strongest punch he ever threw, but, you know, it's... Maybe Oda views it differently in the sense that, well, it's thanks to these really crazy, out-of-the-box powers that Luffy developed at the end of the arc. I don't know. Rodrigo Aliaga, thanks a lot. Morj, what do you think NL is going to do when he comes back? I refuse to believe Oda wrote that cover story without having something in mind for him. Honestly, I think if NL comes back, he will get fruit farmed for the Lightning Devil fruit. I don't know if NL's knowledge of what he learned on the moon is going to be all that important. NL himself is not the type of character to really, like... I can't imagine him showing up and giving us like an elaborate exposition lore dump that just doesn't feel in line with his dialogue and character. I feel like that might have just been more so of a preview of what we have yet to learn in the story ourselves, and we got to see it through NL's eyes. But if NL himself comes back, I think he would get fruit farmed for the lightning fruit to go into somebody else's hands. Maybe a Blackbeard Pirates member. Lucky man, thanks for being a Pirate King tier member for 7 months, man. What do you think is going to happen to Vegapunk Atlas? Personally, I feel it hard to believe Oda is going to kill off a little girl. How about all the female Vegapunks surviving? It would be weird if that's how things played out, because, like, it would just feel bizarrely, like, almost overly, like, it's just like these are just like, you know, they're just, I mean they're all real, like they're all real aspects of Vegapunk's consciousness, but like, yeah, I think Oda is less inclined to like do harm to female characters as much in One Piece for sure. Like at least on screen. By that I mean, like, people might bring up like, well, what about what happened to Ginny and everything? That's not what I'm talking about. I think more so in terms of like simple comparison. So you'll see it. It's actually relevant to a video that I put out tomorrow. So for tomorrow's video, which is gonna be fun, I think it'll be a controversial one, but it'll be fun. Like a small aspect that I noticed while making this video is like Usopp and Nami. They're both physically human characters, right? Unlike the rest of the Straw Hats. Usopp, Oda will go ham on just having him get like the absolute shit beat out of him, completely brutally, just like a bloody broken mess by the end of fights. With Nami in her fights, like Oda's version of like roughing Nami up in a fight is basically like, if she gets stabbed once, like in her leg or in her shoulder or something like that, that's Oda's version of like, okay, I bloodied up Nami a little bit. You know what I mean? And there's a sharp disparity. Like, you're never going to see Nami or Robin or those type of characters take this sort of just beating and like bloodied up, just be a bloodied up mess like he'll do to someone like a Zoro or an Usopp or like his male characters. So Oda definitely does have this sort of, like, he is a sexist author to some degree. Like, that's just the way he is. But I don't know about like the Vegapunks though. Like, I'm sure he'd kill Atlas. Like, he already had Lucci fucking hit Atlas with a fucking Rokugan right off the bat. I don't know if they're gonna be treated the same. I could see him maybe writing Lilith like that, because I think it's these traditionally feminine looking characters that he draws that he tends to hold back from experiencing severe violence, you know? All right, I'm probably going to call the stream in the next 5-ish minutes, just a heads up. Mr. Mindstein's Evil says, Spandam roughed up Robin in Water 7. Yeah, he did, but I guess to, how do I say this, like, by Oda's standards for women in Enies Lobby, he roughed her up. Like, grabbing her hair, yanking her around, stuff like that. Like, she got some blood on her face and things like that. You know, like, that's bad for that. For how Oda writes a woman in any, like, at least feminine women in One Piece. Like, that's bad for their standards, basically, right? But you could even just go skip back and look at, like, what the Frankie family did to Usopp, like, fucking off panel back in Water 7, and that's more brutal than even what Spandam, like even something random like that is more brutal than what was going on with Robin. But I think, to be honest, it's like part of it is on the reader as well, because I remember the Robin stuff being particularly harsh and like painful to watch, and like your heart really goes out for her. And I think that just plays into also just the fact that, you know, societally, whatever reasons you want to come up for it, like, I do think that, like, it is coded for a lot of people that, you know, women experiencing physical abuse does send off certain other, like, you know, it's just a bit more, I don't know, it comes across a bit more harsh, maybe, and sticks out a bit more than, you know, men experiencing physical abuse. I think that is just a thing. You can have your own reasons for why that is, societal, whatever you want to say. But yeah, JWP, man, you're just going off the stream, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Gifted a membership to Vitor Matos. Should say thank you. And another membership to Operation. So thanks, man. Just going off the stream. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. As do the two people you gifted. Meek, thanks for the 10. Just before you end stream, just wanted to say hi. Haven't listened to podcasts in a minute, but I'm a catch-up for real. I'll see you on another Voice of the People soon. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. Yeah, and Voice of the People, that's if you're in the top tier of patrons, then you can submit basically once a chapter comes out. You can submit your own thoughts on it. and it'll usually, if it gets enough votes, then it ends up at the end of the video, and I talk about your comment in the video in chapter review for the week. But yeah, you got plenty of podcasts to catch up on. There's weekly podcasts that come out for Yonko tier members, and then there's obviously monthly podcasts for Pirate King tier members that are much more elaborate and involve me answering submissions from viewers. Pirate King tier members do also get access to the Yonko member podcast, for the record, obviously. Anyway. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot. And, yeah, we're going to call it here. Yeah, thanks a lot. And I think that this, obviously this ends our break, our extended One Piece break. So next time I talk to you guys, we will have a new chapter to discuss, and we'll be back in Egghead Island. So we'll find out slowly how many of these Egghead bingo things we got correct, and if we can cross any of this shit off by the end of the arc. All right, and with that, I will talk to you all later.